Okay, so we had a little bit of an interruption before, so we're just gonna restart the prologue. So we are faced with the choices of 3 difficulties. I never ever recommend you to do easy. This game mode is a lie. This is the hardest game mode the game has to offer. It is not joking when it says there are few items. I think almost literally half of the items that are available in dungeons are gone. Some of the post-dungeon stuff is gone. The rewards for beating a chapter are terrible, and a lot of key skills that make the game a lot easier that you find fairly frequently on normal and more often in hard mode, ironically, do not exist in easy. The things like guts, which stop you from dying if you take a lethal blow, are basically non-existent in easy mode. And it is not fun. It is not fun, chat. Never do it. There's also characters that are locked into normal mode and hard mode, so easy mode is missing a couple of chapters, and therefore it is not possible to get the best ending of the game, which is ending A. I think for the intent of the run, we're going to be showing off all the endings. We're probably going to set up for the best ending, but we're going to do like a what if scenario of doing the normal ending, then we're going to purposely botch it, and we'll get the worst possible ending C. And then we'll see what the true ending is of the game. And from there, I think we'll move into the post-dungeon. Yeah, I don't know why they set up the easy mode like that. In fact, the first time I played the game, I wasn't feeling confident. So I did try this. And I was like, man, this game is hard. And then I played normal. And then I went, man, this game is easy. It was like night and day. It's like ridiculous how much harder easy mode is than normal. It makes no sense, chat. Absolutely no sense at all. So I think from the play perspective of like what to expect in the run, just for those kind of coming in and want to know what we're doing, we're going to be doing what I'm going to call, trying to give it a name, maybe like low level intended percent. So what I'm going to do is I will try to do whatever the game asks me to do each chapter while still setting up for the true ending, while keeping combat fairly minimal. Now, I think we're still going to do some of the completely optional dungeons for sure, just to show them off as like a little bit of an extra challenge. The people familiar with the Caves of Oblivion will be visiting those. And I don't really expect to be using the rest mechanic that often, which will make more sense as we get further into the game. We'll be just kind of taking people as we go. Now, for the most part, I'm going to play with a fixed party order. But Chad, I will be asking you as we get into the later chapters what characters you would like to see more than the others. And I think we'll even have a discussion in general of when we have multiple characters to send, who will end up sending. And that will also make more sense in just a little bit. So for people that have already seen the prologue, they already know what that's all about. But I guess for the YouTube audience, might as well just cue them in that there's stuff they haven't seen yet. So we're going to go ahead and play on hard mode all the way through. The reason why I like hard mode more than the normal mode in particular is that it sounds like it would be a penalty to start at level 1 with all characters, but due to the fact that we can end up finding relics that increase the health per level and skill points per level, which are extremely crucial for learning all the abilities and changing our personality traits, which we'll see a bit more probably this session, that it just makes the game way easier. Honestly, especially if you're looking to potentially maximize your character, the only way to really do that is hard mode. So I don't really recall if there are hard modes. It says item type many on this description here, and I'm trying to think. Most of the time, the difficulty locked items are just between, easy is half the treasures, more or less. Normal has the normal set of treasures. Maybe it just means like because there are hard mode specific dungeons that there are technically more items, which I guess might be true. I've never really thought about that before. But we're going to go ahead and continue on with hard mode. So hopefully, chat, you will enjoy the challenge. But apparently, it's recommended for anyone who wants to plumb the depths of the game. Make the selection not for enjoyment, but as a challenge. I'll let you know, chat, this is the easiest difficulty. Once you've played about an hour or two on normal, you're ready for hard mode. You might as well just reset. It is actually probably faster to beat it on hard mode than normal at that point. True story. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that easy mode. Honestly. Throw me wild, chat. It's not for enjoyment, chat. Listen, chat, no fun allowed. I was gonna say, it's like, put challenge in giant air quotes, as we're gonna be skipping a lot of combat. I will try to show off enemies, like one of each, just so that you could get an idea of what to experience in the game, but honestly, almost all combat is skippable. Depending on how the chat really feels about it, maybe we'll try doing a speedrun route, where we do dungeons horribly out of order. But I think for the most part in this run, expect to, more or less when we see a dungeon, we'll try to clear a dungeon. I think there's only 1 or 2 exceptions to that rule, and that's required for the true ending, more than anything else. Perspective in the game always feels so awkward to me. Everything seems stretched and slanty. I think it was like that in the original.
How nostalgic.
I mean, she thinks it's nostalgic. Oh, the buildings are definitely crazy. I agree with you there. They didn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah, I think when we first did a run of this game, I do recall you making that statement. In particular, some of the later chapter buildings are very interesting. So I guess to give the guidance for people new to the Valkyrie profile, we're in a place not quite on Earth, as you can see by the clouds being level with the fields of flowers, the very fantastical buildings. I have to say, I am a really big fan of this game's soundtrack. I will try not to comment too much when we first enter a dungeon. And I think for the people watching on the stream directly, you're going to be hearing a lot of that music before we begin the stream proper. Now, what I will say for the most part is I've played it a few times, so I generally know where some things are. But there are hard mode specific dungeons that under no circumstance am I doing without a walkthrough. They're not my favorite, chat. The puzzle dungeons, I definitely feel are way too hard for casual playthrough. Never make that mistake, chat. They are just so long and complicated, unless you're willing to dedicate a couple hours or more just on the puzzle aspect of some of those dungeons, because they're quite terrible.
Welcome to Valhalla.
You seem as if you're waiting for someone.
Of course. I've been waiting for you, Lenneth. I've been waiting since my sister Freya told me you were coming back.
Has it been that long? Are you well?
Yes!
I don't know what it is about that delivery, but it gets me every time, chat.
Oh, Lord Odin is waiting for you within.
She's like, yes!
Of course. We will speak later, Frey.
Oh, Frey. You know what's funny? We really don't see much of Frey throughout the game. Like, this is like one of the only scenes that she appears in. I feel like the first time I watched this, I thought she was going to play a more important role. Not like the most important character, but it's just amazing how little you see of her later on. Chat loves the inconsistent voice acting. Fantastic theme. So, we'll be hearing that throughout, and I'll make another comment again, but we'll be hearing a lot of the 4Kids dubbed characters. Well, I'll try to continue to point them out as we hear them. But yeah, some of the voice acting in this is phenomenal in a good way, and some of it is phenomenal in a, oh god, why am I listening to it way.
I am here, Lord Odin, at your service.
Stand, Lenneth. You have no need to kneel before us like a dweller in Midgard.
Like a dweller in Midgard, there you go.
I understand.
I rejoice to see you again. You have been missed.
And you.
Lenneth Valkyrie. I would not summon you, the greatest of the three goddesses who govern destiny, without good cause.
Yes, my lord.
The head of Mimir has told me that Ragnarok, the end of the world, draws near.
Ragnarok?
There have been signs of unrest among the Vanir of late. It seems that we, the Aesir, will not be able to avoid war with them. We require warriors. You shall journey to Midgard, the world below, and search for suitable human souls.
It is my honor, Lord, to serve you.
I expect great things from you. Very well then. Freya?
Yes, my lord. I will join you on your journey down, but I must return before long. You have but recently awakened, and it would be unkind of me to send you alone.
Translation, they need somebody to handhold you through the tutorial levels. Yeah, she does love her teleporting. Hopefully we'll get the teleport glitch again on stream. I'm not sure if that was PS3 specific or not. Like when we're playing the PS1 game on the PS3. Although I will say, speaking of version differences, I am not using the PSP version because it's actually based on a worse version of the game. So we are playing the original PS1 version, just so the chat is clear. Some differences include they remove some cuts, well, not remove some cutscenes. They alter some cutscenes that instead of doing the hand-drawn graphics, they have like really horrible kind of 3D looking graphics. Like for example, when Valkyrie was kneeling down in that scene and she got her iconic armor and look, they made that like a full CG sequence. The problem is that the Japanese version of the game was a lot buggier, and some of the balancing in it was a little different, and they based it on that version of the game instead of the improved NA version. So that's why we're not doing the PSP version, amongst many other reasons. This is the human world? Yes, the lower world of Midgard, where souls wander about, locked in cages of flesh. Does it remind you of anything? Not particularly. I've never seen this world before. You know what? Even when I first played the game the first time, I was like putting together like what Odin was telling us versus like what Valkyrie is trying to tell us. I always found it interesting when you go to play this where we're proclaimed to be like one of the three major goddesses, and we are for some reason being told what our job is, as in we have somebody hand-holding us. And then if our job is to collect human souls, I always thought it was kind of strange, right, chat? That you've never seen the world before. So I'm like, what was she doing prior to this point? The game kind of goes into that, and it makes a bit more sense as we get into it. But I just like to point that observation out. I always thought that was very interesting the first playthrough. I was like, huh, that's weird. And then her ... IC did not exactly instill confidence in me, chat. It did not. Then let us go. Go where? Oh, Valkyrie. It is time for me to teach you about who you are and what your role is. Which, again, that's another strange line. What was she doing standing in the field of flowers? I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong to some extent. So there you go. Oh, we're teleporting too. Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where if you're paying attention, it seems a little suspicious, but you're not really sure what to do with that kind of information. But for veterans of the game, they know exactly why that line seems very strange. And potentially that gears you towards doing an ending. So we'll see. Do you hear something? What do you mean? You have a power that is yours alone. Close your eyes and open your heart. Concentrate and listen. You will understand. So I do like these little segments to kind of introduce you to the plot, or in some cases dungeons or important locations. But I like that little audio preview. It is interesting though that they have voice acted lines for different scenes that we're about to witness. But when we go to view them in quote unquote real time, that they're not voiced, which I think is disappointing in some ways. But I think it is neat we did at least get some voices for characters that are not necessarily important to the plot, which we'll be listening to now.
Arngrim! It hurts! Help me! Save me!
It's a monster!
You think it's foolish, brother, because you're content with what you have.
You're wrong.
I do love the "you're wrong." I'll always remember that from the intro chat. Anyway, we're getting introduced to Artolia. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of like you could see it either way. Like, I feel like establishing the personality of the characters, I feel like Freya in particular, some of her lines are very interesting, and you could get her personality within only a couple of lines. But yeah, we're going to be hearing a lot of depressing things when we do the spiritual concentration. So we'll try to mix this in with some more lighthearted things, I think, on the stream itself. Yes. Do you hear it? What is this? That is your power. The power to hear the sorrow, anger, and hopes of humans near death. The power to hear their souls cry out. It is your task to take the souls of those chosen, departed, within yourself. I am to search amongst the souls of the departed for those worthy to become heroes. Yeah, cries of horse, exactly. We're going to be hearing some cries of animal every now and then. Yes, that is why. That is why what? Let us go. If we go even closer, you'll be able to synchronize your soul with theirs. Then you will understand more. So I like the kind of chaotic sounds that we hear, and then we get the context going into it. Presumably this is Valkyrie's inner monologue. Human souls, take them into myself. Go find the soul of the horse. Something like that, chat. Well, yeah, I forgot that we don't actually get to do any overworld travel yet. That's a shame. Arngrim, help them out, won't you? This beast is tough. Nuisance. Out of my way. We get control briefly. We get to see his mad jump height, chat. I always feel sad you can't crouch. Always feel sad about that, chat. Anyway, enough messing around. Let me assist you. We're hearing the boss music. Spoilers, it's not really a boss fight. There we got an experience crystal for landing a hit while the creature was in the air. We'll showcase if I delay it a little more, I'll instead get a purple crystal, which will basically reduce, I think CT is charge time. which is important for a mechanic we haven't unlocked and also magicians, but for melee characters, it's not important. So you can see we have the face buttons in the upper right and a number, so we have exactly one action each of each character. So if I want to, I could start with Arngrim and go into Lawfer. And we don't have enough characters to max out the hit gauge to show that mechanic, as we are still very early into the game. I figure I'd show it off. Like the little turn-based mechanics mixed with a bit of timing. I think it makes the combat very fresh for me. So I very much enjoyed the combat in this game. Welcome home, brother. Whoa. Are you okay? Yeah, just sit down. You're still drawing that stuff? Art is more than just that stuff. If you can't sell it, what's the point? Don't do it for money. Whatever. Oh, Arngrim. Brother, it's different. Different than war where you just kill people. What? I don't fight for money. I'm a mercenary because I enjoy it. Same as you, right? He says he can't sell art. I know, chat. People buy paintings of landscapes all the time. I don't give a damn about expressing myself or whatever. Oh, Arngrim. Never change, chat. Say, Roland, what's fun about making art anyway? You think it's foolish, brother, because you're content with what you have. For me, drawing pictures has always been a way for me to escape the confines of this frail body of mine. Killing is fun, self-expression is not. Exactly, chat. You're learning all the important things. I'm sorry, brother. I know that part of the reason you fight is to support me. I'll leave the money here. But we get to see that little statue on the desk. That statue? It's a present from His Highness. They give it to the guy who kills the most people in battle. Why does Arngrim's sprite seem to have demonic glowing eyes? I always wondered that too, chat. Like, what a weird color for it, because even in his profile, which I have to say, I really do like their little portraits, because they are quite expressive. I feel like his eyes, for some reason, are just really off. Could have just made them brown, right, chat? Strange. Anyway, we're being introduced to everybody's favorite princess. But first, we're talking as Lombard. Princess? It is unseemly for such a lovely young princess who will one day rule the country to lose her temper in such a disgraceful manner. Princess Fivehead, you're not wrong, chat. It's not as bad in her portrait, but man, her character sprite is ridiculous. Also, she is like half mouth. Look at that, chat. Look at that sprite. Silence, Lombard. I will not stand here silently and accept abuse from the likes of you. We cannot allow such behavior from a boorish mercenary. Princess Jolanda, you need not concern yourself with regards to this matter, Princess. I will take care of everything. I was gonna say, I'm gonna have to see this Yai from Mega Man Battle Network, as you've mentioned her before. Jolanda dots us, though. She's judging you, Chris. She's thinking about what you said. Again, even with these very short scenes, we get a very strong idea of their personalities. Thanks to your meritorious efforts, the barbarians have been driven back. I salute you all. And among you, I believe, is the greatest warrior of all, Sir Arngrim. To you, I present a cash bonus in this statue. though I'm sure mercenary taste is no different than that of a barbarian. Wow. The King's internal monologue, chat. How delightful. I thank you from the bottom of the gaping void in my soul. Oh, Arngrim, your sarcasm, so dry. You think this makes everything all right? This cheap little statue's nothing but a lie. Ha ha ha! You're such a feeble little king. What? What are you? I don't have time for this farce. Lessons on how to show gratitude by Arngrim. Yeah, I wonder if they tried making his eye red to signify the scar, but then they realized they couldn't quite show the scar and also his eye color. Really wonder, chat. This statue looks a lot like you, don't you think? Listen, one insult the person who praises you, exactly. King holds his hands up in shock. Father! And then we smack the statue. Don't waste my time with this crap. You ungrateful brute! To subject my father to such barbarism! 10,000 deaths are not enough for you! Listen to, if given a reward, smash it without mercy. Exactly, chat. Guards, take him! What are you doing? That arrogant lout! There must be some way I could get him. Let me think. I've got it! Look at that face. That is such a great face though, chat. I'm gonna leave it there just so you could stare at it. That was gonna be one of the alternate smug emotes, chat. I was thinking about this one. That one is so smug. Oh, I almost did it. So one thing I didn't talk about in this particular playthrough, but I did it just now, is that you can move before the game fully loads in, and that could cause some weird things to happen. So that entire time we were in that cutscene, I was just holding right on the D-pad. So you could see I'm on like the far right of the door, and if I try running right, I can't go any further. But I just find it amusing. You could sort of go out of bounds. And then the way to leave the room is to run left, and then it makes you go to the right. I'm glad I got to get that on stream, chat. I love partially clipping out of doors. Anyway, let's talk to our brother briefly. It's been a long time since you hung around the house all day, huh? Yeah, we'll exit normally, I guess. Now, there's not anything we can do with in this room at the moment, but we'll be coming back here later. You might see that there's a sword here, and we can actually collect that later. At least I think it's specifically that one, but we will be getting a sword here later. Yeah, this is normally how you're supposed to enter and exit, but it's okay. We just partially clip out of bounds. Just sit down and relax. Do you want something? Aren't you, might you be Sir Arngrim? Yeah, that's right. My name is, Jella. Jella? Yeah. No, Jella, my name is Angela. Super subtle there, chat. Best performance. No one will truly recognize her now. Yeah, I would ... that performance too. Truly a master disguise. That Jella Angela. Exactly. And what do you want from me, Lady Angela? I came to offer you a job. Are you serious? You've got time, why not talk to her? Didn't even try to cover her signature enormous forehead. I mean, she tried covering her head partially, but yeah, she missed the forehead. That Arngrim emote. I mean, let's look at it, chat. Look at that expression. What a face, chat. Also, I wasn't thinking about that, but wasn't his scar on the wrong side in that image? Things I wasn't really thinking about until just now. Because the scar is clearly on his left side there, but I'm pretty sure... Or, I mean, it's on his right side, excuse me, at the moment, but on the other image, it was on his left. So I guess they just flipped it. Either that or he's got identical scars. So, where are we going? Let's go to one of those restaurants. Do you know of any fine establishments? Well, this place over here is about as fine as it gets in Artolia. He is definitely so done, chat. Nanlu Garden, the only gourmet Yamato-style restaurant in Artolia. Its promise to the citizens of the continent is a taste experience many Westerners find rather bizarre. Uh-oh, chat. Wacky food antics ensue. May I take your order? I have no idea. Let's see, I'll take this and this and this. What would you like to drink? Oh, this and one of these. Nope, see, it's on his left side now, chat. Hey, are you really gonna eat all that? Why would I? I'll just have what I want and leave the rest. He's had enough, chat. He's had enough. So, what was it you wanted to hire me for? Why don't we talk while we eat? She of the bottomless stomach. Sort of. Uh-oh, Angela's calling for the manager, chat. Call your manager! Huh? I said, call your manager! Poor Arngrim, putting his hands over his head. Don't act like such a spoiled little princess. Care Angela, exactly, chat. Could you imagine if she named herself Karen? I was gonna say, her in disguise name. They would just know the future, chat. Is something not to your liking? Not to my liking, you say? What is this meat? It's raw! But miss, that is called sashimi. It's a classic Yamato cuisine. And what's this cloudy soup? It smells awful! It must be rotten. Yeah, she's gonna blow, exactly, chat. Miss, that's an absolute staple of Yamato cuisine. Miso soup. And what about this? It's a monster! You're trying to make me eat baby krakens? But miss, that's just plain octopus. You serve monsters here? I assure you, miss. I have never been so insulted in my entire life. Now my throat is parched. Oh, she's very, very drunk. No, just really mad. Ugh, what kind of water is this? Are you trying to poison me? How dare you? 10,000 deaths are not enough for you. Plop. How in the world does someone know what a kraken is but never heard of an octopus? Not entirely sure, chat. Some of it might be for show, some of it might be serious. I guess there's a couple ways you could interpret the scene. She did want to get revenge on him, but I don't think her passing out was part of the plan. Your bill, sir. Save game? Why not? Yeah, see, that's about as far as we got last time, chat. Current Jolanda death count, 20,000. Oh no, chat. So this happened before you could hear what she wanted. Yeah. Uh-oh, her disguise fell over, chat. Look out. Huh? Look at that gasping expression, chat. Princess Jolanda? It's clearly you should have thought any of this through. True, chat, true. What's going on? Well, I know she came here in disguise to hire me for a job. Like that you could see him limping in that cutscene. Just like little attention to details here and there that make it more interesting. She's very proud. Reception level, Doki, exactly, chat. Yeah. Huh? Talking in her sleep, eh? Yeah. Bell Oathbreaker. 10,000 deaths are not enough for you. So that's it. I understand now.
I insulted that girl's father right in front of her. Of course, I didn't mean to. I just wanted to show what a gutless coward the king is. What I did wasn't wrong.
Or Arngrim, yeah, didn't mean to, question mark, exactly, chat.
But a daughter can't help but love and honor her own father. Is there any child that would not feel anger at seeing their sire made a fool of?
I think you did as well, Chris, but it's okay. Gotta get the content back in on the video. Where am I? It's already evening. Yeah, it is. I have to go. Oh, is it okay if I come back tomorrow to make my offer? Yeah, sure. A job offer, huh? Probably some sort of revenge for what I did to her father. When she comes tomorrow, I'll apologize to her. We're gonna be seeing a lot of this character later on, for sure. Bad Ratch here. But for now, let's get his little intro. You're late! So, what's your offer this time? It's short notice, but I need you to help another man deliver. What? Give me a break. You're wasting my time for that? Come on, the pay is top price. So will you take it? Dangerous cargo, eh? Well, I'll take it, but I want 5,000. My price has doubled. Fine, it's a deal. You serious? Well, if you say so. By the way, who's the other guy you got me teamed up with? You'll meet soon enough.
I don't know what that guy's up to. As long as I get my
The next day. Talk to her brother. Princess isn't coming, is she? Probably not. But if you think about the princess being out of the castle... Yeah, I suppose. If she keeps sneaking out, she's gonna get her attendants executed. Yeah. Some conversationalist. Damn, we got told by our brother, chat. Oops. I was just seeing if you had more dialogue. The answer's no. So technically, our goal is to just re-enter our house. Funny enough. I don't remember if you actually have to leave the screen or not, but we won't be seeing in this playthrough. But in the meantime, we might as well as just explore the rest of the town. Purely optional. There's no items to attain here, so for people just looking to make progress here, this is all just fluff/flavor text. I wonder what lilac means in the language of flowers. Ugh, who cares about flowers anyway? I can tell they're just in sync, chat. What a lovely couple. Let's just walk into people's private residences. It's fine. We don't need to knock. Also, we were much taller than the doorway there. Hello, old man. Who's not talking to me? There we go. How kind of you to visit an old man. Why don't you stay for tea and I'll tell you all about my grandkids? No. Unfortunately, we don't get a big conversation within the restaurant. I was really hoping we would. Good day. I can't even stand on the table. Excuse me, chat. 0 out of 10. Arngrim is part giant, so is the sword. I mean, it might not be good for the sword to be exposed to the elements like that all day long, chat. God help him if he needs to bend over to pick anything up, chat. He'll just, like, cleave his own backside. Lately, many ill-omened things have been happening in Anatolia. Thank you, vague text that doesn't really tell me anything about the universe. If the Vilnor army comes this way, this whole town will be wiped out. See, that's lore building. Now we know there's another place called Vilnor. We're potentially on the verge of war. All we could do now is pray. That old man is useless. Anyway, let's talk to Mr. Tutorial here. Adventurer says, the other day I opened up a treasure chest and some poison gas shot out at me. Expect me to get hit by the traps, chat. I really don't remember how to dodge some of them offhand. Luckily, I was crouching down, so it didn't do anything except give me a big scare. There's no visual tell for how the treasure chests work when we get into the dungeon mechanics. If it's an explosion, it'll give more of a delay than the other ones, so we have more time to react to that. But things like the gas and the arrow, you just kind of have to guess. And weirdly enough, more often than not, just jumping away backwards will dodge most of them. There's some exceptions to that rule, and you generally don't want to be in those kinds of scenarios. Like, for example, if you're high up on a platform that you can easily get tossed out of, then I think it's better to crouch in that scenario so that way you can't get knocked back. There's like little weird things you could do to avoid not having to re-navigate to the treasure. Well, anyway, we've explored the place. Let's go to Arngrim's house. Brother, you have a visitor. I need to speak with you. Is this about a job? Yeah. Did you take it? I'll leave tomorrow morning. You'll be alone again for a few days. What about the princess? Cancelled, probably. Hey, chat. Feeling a little congested today. Bad Ratch says, whoa, this is something of a surprise. My partner's gonna be you then, eh? We just dot him. Oh, don't give me that. Name's Badratch. Nice to meet you, Arngrim. I've heard all about you. If you must engage in such meaningless blather, do it on the road. This cargo must be delivered. Yes, ma'am.
Vilnor was about a week's journey away along the Great Road. But the journey was uneventful, and by the third day we were halfway there.
I'm getting plenty of money for this job, so who really cares what's in the thing? Hey, Mr. Bodyguard? We just dot on him. Man, we just never talk to him. You're that Lombard. Lombard? Bartolia's chief counselor? You mean it wasn't the agent who hired us? Hey, bodyguard, something's coming up behind you. What? Knights, and lots of them. Knights?
The dust looked to have been kicked up by a group of Altorian cavalry. It seemed like they were chasing something, but I never imagined it was us.
Dun dun dun. Oh, I just wanted to talk very briefly about Badratch's name. I think his name is supposed to be a pun, and it'll make more sense once we see his character abilities later. So there's like disagreement as to what the pun is because of the interchangeability of like the letters R and L in Japanese. So it's either going to be bad luck, I think is his translation in Japanese, or in the English version, it's closer to bad rap. So his name is just tons of puns. It'll make more sense when you see his skills later. Artolian Knight says, "Halt! Surrender your cargo for inspection." Hey Kirk, hope you're doing well. Hey, hold up!
When I think about it now, I never should have agreed to take that package without knowing what was inside. It just wasn't like me.
These are the ones. Let's get out of here. Hey, hold on a second. Doing okay-ish, Kirk. I feel a little congested. What? In hindsight, I'm an idiot. Maybe. At least that's Arngrim's internal
Our
thoughts.
Parcel? It was that little tomboy princess. Jolanda.
Looks like we'll have to wait till night and run. Yeah, I don't really know why he calls her a tomboy. I don't feel like her personality really fits that very well. I don't fully agree with that. Damn that Lombard, he totally screwed this. You filthy, you knew? No. Didn't know what was in the damn thing. It's just that my client was Lombard like always, and did those soldiers know that Lombard? Eh? No way, can't be. The guy's a Vilnor spy, you know. What? Nobody was supposed to know what was in the thing, man. If Vilnor got their hands on the princess, they'd have Artoli in the palm of their hand.
I'd have been quite happy to kill a stinking knave, but I've got more important things to do.
Arngrim! It hurts! Help me! Save me!
Followed by the man going, yeah! Ugh! What? All the sound effects, chat. Hey, what the hell is that? Help us! Hey, what's going on? Jolanda? Because the princess was unconscious. Captain told us to give her this medicine that he got from Lombard. Isn't that the princess?
Lombard was playing two hands. He knew the abduction would be discovered, so he sent some medicine along with the search party. If we made it all the way to Vilnor, no problem. But if we were discovered, the cavalry would use the medicine.
Dun dun dun.
The princess would be unconscious if she was found. The medicine's effect was as you see. The princess became a monster, and afterwards all were dead. Perhaps even the princess.
She improved her disguise ability, something like that, chat. That's exactly what happens when somebody drinks ghoul powder. Ghoul powder? Yeah. Turns a person into a howling demon. Necromancers use the stuff all the time. Lombard is a necromancer? Angela. Angela? You mean Jolanda? What are you talking about? It's time we get back to Artolia. Getting out of here. See ya. He just abandons us.
Maybe he made the right choice. I don't know. But I wasn't going to run. Even on the field of battle, I'd never felt like this. Lombard!
Lombard!
Kill you.
Love that line. Uh oh, Chan, he's gonna kill him.
What will become of Jolanda?
I swear her sword is bigger in combat. I'm just looking at how big it is here, and I just want to see what it looks like in combat again. Stop, that's... Human, life is not something to be thrown away. If you are a true warrior, you will find your path in the maelstrom of battle. The battle maiden Valkyrie?
Who hadn't heard the tales of the endless war the gods wage with the creatures of darkness?
Boss music again.
Come to me, Dark Warriors. Battle awaits us.
Wow, that quote-unquote boss did like no damage to us. So you might notice along the bottom of the screen, Valkyrie's got 1,000 health. Arngrim's got almost double that at 1942. Freya's got 6,000 health. She's never gonna die. She's absolutely never gonna die. Now, what you will learn, and I think is kind of interesting from the perspective of Freya, is that her attacks take a little while to execute. You want to put more of a delay whenever you attack with her. That way you could get everything chaining together like that. And also she got hit for 0 damage, which is quite unfair. Actually, out of curiosity, can I get the glitch to occur here? I'm gonna go for it. Nah, it's not gonna work. Maybe he needs 4 characters. And he's dead. Goodbye. Sometimes I could get her character graphic to stretch out by making them attack her while she's teleporting. But I think I need to do a different timing for it.
Battle is my greatest pleasure. But this was different.
You think it's foolish, brother, because you're content with what you have.
You're wrong.
You're wrong!
It was through others' misfortune that I felt myself to be strong.
Yeah, it's definitely bigger in combat, I agree, Cham.
That's right. I who was myself without morals. Who was I to judge others? Who was I to look down on them? Injustice. I began to realize that the king and I were very much the same.
This is probably one of my favorite themes. We're going to be hearing this quite a lot. It plays during a lot of tragedy scenes. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite songs on the soundtrack. I thought you might show up sooner or later. You really should have just run away. It will avail you nothing to cause a disturbance here, young man. Maybe not, but I'll sure as hell avail me to smash your face in. I see. Arngrim, you may be a genius on the battlefield, but when it comes to the higher arts, you know little. You realize you are already dead. What? Magic, Arngrim. Let me show you. Ugh! I don't need to understand words to use them as threats, Arngrim.
I beg of you. You must save Arngrim, please.
Oh, chat.
Save? How do you think he might be saved? By being allowed to continue to live, or by being chosen by me?
I mean, it's a good question. Yet one thing does strike me as odd. I believed it if you ran away, but could a human really have defeated a ghoul? I can't imagine.
That's him! That's the man who betrayed me!
What? Ah, now I understand. We have a little conspiracy here, don't we? Conspiracy? Huh. I hear you're the expert on that subject. Defiler of souls, your sins lay heavy upon you. Ooh, Valkyrie mad. Look at that face, chat. Another alleged boss battle.
Come to me, Dark Warriors. Battle awaits us.
We will be seeing this kind of mage-type enemy fairly often throughout the game, which is kind of annoying. I mean, obviously, we're still in Tutorialville, so we have no chance of dying. Even if I mess around, I don't think I could die. Well, I guess I could, in theory, end my turn repeatedly. But I figured we'd just go into the menu briefly. Okay, so I was just trying to reorient myself with some of the menu stuff. Oh. I don't think I've ever used reorder in any playthrough, chat, to rearrange where they stand. I mean, it's nice that you could do it, I guess. Okay, so we do have no items, just out of curiosity. We have the antler sword equipped. Okay. Yeah, swapping weapons in this game is actually underrated, I would say. We'll be doing that a little bit, mostly if I'm able to recall what enemy we're going to fight. We're going to hopefully preemptively swap to a more appropriate weapon type as we go through. Some characters will not have their weapons changed that often, in particular the back row, but we'll be getting a lot of Slayer-esque weapons that do massive damage to specific enemy types. So ideally, we would want to fight bosses with Slayer weapons, as that makes them incredibly easy. Which, by the way, are very rare and hard to find in easy mode. So, way to go, easy mode. Prepare yourself, rebel scum! Well, he didn't last very long. These slipshod soldiers think they could call me rebel scum. Look, friend, don't expect me to do you any favors. I'm not gonna die. I guess they don't have much use for heroes with true strength up in Asgard, eh? Then, glorious human, strength is not everything. You're one to talk, death goddess. Impudent fool! Valkyrie is not a goddess of the dark. Such words will result in your certain death. Angela? You knew? Well, it wasn't a good disguise. I see. So you're safe, little one. I have one question. Aren't you just a death goddess? A god of death is merely responsible for snuffing out... Oh, for the snuffing out of lives. I, however, can show you the path. Path? Yes. However, you must walk it on your own. Stop this pointless slaughter. Wasn't a good disguise, but he didn't realize until the hat fell off. Yeah, her bonnet was holding all that identity in, chat. Old man. Arngrim, will you truly raise arms against me? We threw our sword on the ground? I'm surprised we didn't, like, crater the earth. Do I have any regrets? No. Also, I have to say, this is one of the darker starts to an RPG. We've had 2 character deaths so far. And one of them was a suicide.
Save me.
Consider it a gift.
It seems we'll be spending quite a bit of time together.
That it does, little one. Quite a bit indeed.
Freya says to herself, fate can indeed be a cruel mistress. What is it? Nothing. Let us take leave of here. Next? Yes. I was gonna say, for people that have seen Valkyrie Profile 2, that line has a very interesting connotation that she was thinking to herself. Even the strongest steel must first be tempered, yes? To send them to Asgard directly would only be a death sentence. Concentrate once again. You should be able to feel the presence of the undead as well. Okay, so we're seeing the alternate use of spiritual concentration, aka the Dungeon Finder. No voice clips this time, but we can hear a very different kind of music playing during this. So we should be going to the mountain range, if I recall correctly. Artolian Mountain Ruins, exactly. Yes, I feel them. They're nearby. Let us go and see. So we finally got overworld control. Oh, can I not use the menu during the tutorial? Interesting. So let's read the description of this place. We can see that it costs 2 period, which is the unit of time in this game. depending on the difficulty, you have more. I think hard mode is 28, normal has 26, and easy is 24. Don't quote me on the first two, but we'll take a look at the hard mode one. I feel like they tried doing that so that you could heal more, but honestly, most of the time, especially towards the later half of the game, we're gonna end up with like way too much time left over. So do not worry about not being able to do things in a chapter, especially on hard mode. It gives you way more than enough time. Anyway, the Artolian mountain ruins. Mountain ruins lie in the northern hills. The massive stoneworks have eroded over the years, and their hulking forms peer eerily out from a deep blanket of fog. A bonfire now burns there, and an eerie, screaming sound can be heard each night. Reminds you of Dragon Ball Z, Boo's Fury, and Budokai 3 with the flying around in the overworld. I will take your word for it. I've never played a Dragon Ball game. I sense an enemy. Yes, there is one. An undead. Lenneth, are you ready? I can accompany you through this ruin, but when you leave this place, I must return to Asgard, as I'm too OP to travel with the main party. Yes. Uh-oh, chat. It's the memory camp. Look at this, Lenneth. That is the memory camp. I'm surprised I remembered what they called the save points. Tools can only be created in a dungeon in the memory camp. If we were doing a speedrun route, it's actually extremely important that we craft some items here, but in a normal playthrough, honestly, it doesn't matter at all. I think you understand, but eating souls is a desecration of the undead. Or excuse me, desecration of the dead. Having mercy on the undead is useless. Enough, let's go. Let's go ahead and casually walk over to our save. And let's explore the menu for a little bit. So we have a whole bunch of things to take in. I'm going to start off by looking at skill. So we have CP. We acquire over time. I think it's... Oh, instead of skill points, it's capacity points, excuse me. So we could potentially learn all of these things. They all have translations. I think for now, we're not going to worry about most of these. If I want to play it safe, I will probably take first aid. But if I want to get damage from having played the game before, I believe fight is what I'm looking for. Yeah. Yeah, it is. So these are little ways we can increment our stats. I think doing this is the best choice. Now, one thing I just want to point out between some of the characters. Ooh, it is so weird flipping between characters in this game. Let me go back to setup. So if we pick some passive skills, we can, or they're called reaction skills in this game. They will trigger depending on whatever the condition is. Percent chance is based off of how much we level it. We will not be seeing support skills or attack skills in this particular session. And we have something called traits. It just says gods do not have human traits. Now, I will say, if you're wondering what this does, the hero value is used for evaluating the warriors of Asgard if you happen to send them. So if you're not planning on sending a character to help with Ragnarok and you want them in your party forever, never put points in here. And in fact, you won't know this unless you actually bother leveling this character a lot, but it is not possible to send Arngrim. So this entire little section is a point trap. Never, ever, ever put points in there for Arngrim. It is literally useless. They don't do anything for you in combat, and they are quite terrible. Now, what's really weird about the menu and why I'm saying, like, it is very bizarre is that I can only swap what character I'm selecting once I'm choosing to learn a skill. But when I'm up here and I hit the same buttons, it doesn't do anything. The menus are a little kludgy for sure. We can also see gods do not have human traits for Freya. Freya is basically unkillable. I don't even technically have to level her at all. But I guess I will. Sure, we'll teach her counter. So we'll read the description of fight, I guess, since we're using that at the moment. Raises strength, intelligence, agility, and dex, skill level ×2. Counter, we have a chance of countering if they happen to whiff, which is, I think, also needed for the glitch. And 15% chance of restoring DME, which is, I think, divine materialization energy, or a really complicated way of saying hit points when injury occurs. Amount restored depends on skill level, cannot cure self. So she could potentially heal us. So I might as well take advantage of that, I guess. Because she's never going to die, so it doesn't really matter. And finally, we have Jolanda. I don't want to teach her... Well, fight is okay for intelligence. Trick is actually better than fight because she does not need strength at all for determining her damage. It's just purely based off of intelligence. In fact, I'm probably just going to teach her Trick. Eventually, I'll give her first aid, but I think we'll at least up her damage first. Now, she can potentially be sent to Valhalla to fight in the war against... I don't know if they've actually named the enemy that we're fighting, actually. I'm going to hold off on saying that. But essentially, in dealing with Ragnarok, we could potentially send her. There is a special cutscene we can get by waiting to send her. So I think for our playthrough, we will not be sending her in any of the early chapters. In fact, we might not even send her at all by the end of the playthrough. So, actually, I want to point out a couple things since we're in the menu. So at the bottom right is our current evaluation. It cannot go over 100. So keep that in mind, that it's possible to even get away with never sending anybody to Valhalla and still get a good ranking. However, the downside to that is you will not get as many cutscenes at the end of a particular chapter. I will try to send people, even though I really don't need any of the items, and I fully recommend that you actually don't do it. But for the sake of showing out off the content, we'll send people up there. Now, if they get sent up there, chat, we will not get access to them, potentially until either the post-game dungeon or the very, very end of the game, depending on what ending we're doing. So, kind of unfortunate. Use item, we have no purpose for this. Divine item is kind of interesting, though. So this is how we can kind of have on-the-fly shop creation. I think if I were going for speedrun tactics, I think you just make a bunch of ruby maces. And that will make sense because you could convert these into something else, but I forget how to do that offhand. Anyway, we could take a look at each individual item, but for the moment, it's not really important. So let's not do that in this session. We'll look at the party menu. Oh, there is a practice mode. I forgot about that. Our class is Chooser of the Slain. Giver of Life for Freya. Heavy Knight Mercenary. Or Sorceress/Princess. We could rearrange how they could be selected. For the most part, it doesn't really make a big difference. The only one that makes a big difference is who is in the back row, as if you don't have a ranged weapon or spell, you're not able to attack from there by default. You don't have any experience orb stuff to deal with. I could technically go into practice if I want to see the combos. We could take a look at our abilities. So we can learn more about our attacks. So if we want to get an understanding of how much meter we build or how the attacks work, we could go ahead and do that. We can see something called Special Attack, which is interesting that they call it Special Attack here, because I believe the name used throughout the rest of the series is these Purify Weird Soul. We'll be seeing everybody's Purify Weird Soul attacks, and the most iconic one is probably Final Blast. It is really, really good in terms of either continuing a combo or just in general, it's a lot of fun. Aether Strike is a good combo finisher. It doesn't add a lot to the hit count. For people not aware, every hit, I think, adds 1% to damage. But it does a lot of raw damage, so it could be put at the end of the combo for big damage. I don't think there's anything else we want to take a look at. I do want to point this out, because this is something most players will not see the first time they play through the game, or at least until they get another item. Let's read the description of this item specifically. The Nibelung Ring. A ring bestowed upon Valkyrie by Odin, showing his faith in her. If it is removed, Valkyrie's evaluation level is reduced. It may have other powers, parentheses, compensations. Now, it does reduce darkness damage by 50%. So technically, you could leave this on pretty much the entire way, and it's actually a pretty solid starting accessory, because a lot of enemies do have dark magic. However, for the ending we're going for, we need to make sure that we have this off whenever we conclude a chapter. I can, however, wear it until we get to the end of chapter. So it doesn't really matter there. What else did I want to show? I do like that there's more descriptions of the characters here, so I think I will showcase the little profiles here. And there's one more thing I think I want to do. Let's read the descriptions of each of these characters. We have the Valkyrie, one of the 3 goddesses of fate, whose role it is to decide a person's fate after death. A mid-level goddess of the 6th rank, her true name is Lenneth Valkyrie. Next, we have Arngrim, a mercenary from the Artolia region. Blessed with a true warrior's prowess and a good measure of luck, his sword-fighting technique is unmatched. In battle, he fights as a demon-possessed, slicing through foes like a scythe through ripe wheat. I like that he's in the sword-holding pose, but he has no sword there. They're worried it would probably block the text if they showed it. Next, we have Freya. Venerated as the goddess of fertility, Freya appears as a beautiful young blonde woman. However, she is second only to Odin in terms of true power, commanding power over life as well as death. Finally, we have Jolanda. First princess of Artolia, behind her pure sweet image lies a pampered princess with a heart of steel and a razor-sharp tongue. Now, one thing that is kind of funny, I want to see if this works, is Aether Freeze, as you can see in the bottom left, the X's designate what attack slot you're allowed, or not allowed, and circles the one that you are allowed. If we remove this on Freya, we can actually get more attacks with her, from what I recall. Funny enough. Let's go ahead and look at her abilities, just to confirm that. It says nothing, but I'm pretty sure we still get attacks. I think that's a bug, because you're not supposed to be able to do that. I guess I could describe some of the stats and the way they work in the game. I don't really want to bore the chat. But I will state that, attack, thrust, hit, thrust. I might have to come back to this, because thrust, whenever you see the word thrust in this game, it means a damage range, and I always confuse in my head which means what. So generally speaking, if you have, I think, a bad hit thrust, your minimum damage potentially is very low. So let's say it does 300 attack, let's just say hypothetically, it can roll between 1 and 300, essentially, if you have a bad hit thrust. So having a high hit thrust is actually useful, I believe. Or I might be having it reversed with attack thrust. I'll take a look in between. Also, it says trust there. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be thrust. Anyway. It's really weird in how it calculates. Most of the time it doesn't matter. Just knowing that if you have high trust, I guess, you will get through an enemy's defense. Armor has like a counter value, which is like how often the enemy rolls poorly against you, if it's possible. Yeah, so you can kind of think of it 2 ways. Weapons have a number range in which it can roll, and the other one determines how often it's able to hit the higher end. Yeah, reduced damage is probably the most important thing. Defend thrust is not relevant. We don't usually need to care about that at all. But we should probably take a look at what she's wearing, as we will not be given access to her for long. So let's read her descriptions briefly. Empress Garland, a tiara given to the goddess Freya by the Odin, the All-Father. It signifies her status as a goddess of the 2nd rank. I think they mean that we're stealing from her. I think that's what they really mean. Eternal Shine, garment which shines with an otherworldly light. I think we're going to take that too. Orichalcum boots, boots created by the goddess Freya for her own use. They're made with orichalcum, a mysterious alloy which gives them the ability to float. Well, we're going to take that too. We have Brisingol, necklace which brings disaster upon its wearer. However, the goddess Freya imbued it with her own power to supplement its negative energy. And we're going to take that too. We can't, unfortunately, wear any of her stuff, but I just like the idea that we just rob her blind and she's just okay with it, chat. So, actually, I really don't want to level up at all here, but for the sake of showing off content, we will get into some fights. Anyway, enough messing around. See, actually, we have 30 periods. Wow, that's a lot in the beginning chapter. Quite ridiculous. We don't need that many, chat. Okay, I'm trying to... Oh, that's right. They put sprint and jump on the same button. I forgot about that, chat. Weird. Weird design choice, chat. I don't like that one for sure. To fight the enemy, face your enemy and brandish the sword. So I used ice there. We'll get a tutorial on that. We'll talk about that later. Any contact means a fight, but you never know who will be first. Brandish sword. So they want us to fight the enemy that's here. But, oh wait, she's just auto-running now. That's weird. Actually, speaking of which, sorry for being indecisive. This is our destination, but I'm curious if we get extra dialogue for coming here first. Iron bars are shut tightly. Okay, it's the only dialogue we get. So our destination is to get a key on the 2nd floor. And yeah, we're just gonna ignore him. Listen, chat, we don't have time for combat. Let's check out the contents of that bag. It's possible there could be something usable inside. So there's a couple things we could do with treasure chests. In this particular instance where we have a bag, so I don't think we get the full access. We have to hit down and our brandish sword button. We got the iron barred key, which is necessary to progress. You can see we can slightly angle our sword upwards, which is useful for trying to hit flying enemies. Don't worry, chat, we'll be fighting them in a little bit. There is one enemy encounter that's kind of hard to avoid, so I'm kind of factoring that in for something we could end up fighting. Oh, the game was really loading that. Got the Eye of Heaven, nice. So anyway, chat, you can see why I like the game. You can skip all the combat if you really don't want it. Let's take a look at what this does. Gem which enables the user to see areas in the current dungeon which they have not yet visited. There is a map button in this game, but we generally won't be using it. I guess if you're playing blind, it's not bad. Yeah, we have the iron barred key. Iron key, it must fit in a door somewhere. We have spectacles to see an enemy's weakness. Spoilers, it's not worth doing most of the time. It really isn't. Lennon, I think you can use that key here. Please take a look at those iron bars. Investigate talk is also the brandish sword button, which is kind of funny because I might end up slicing people. I have to say this is the most random use of like CG in a game. I'm not sure why they felt the need to make it look like that. But we'll take it. So one thing I will say is that for movement purposes, oh, I got interrupted immediately. It's probably always best to slide off an edge as you end up with more momentum. They're saying we can climb down a ladder. Never do that. That's the slowest form of movement. Leaping is a handy way to move quickly. I mean, I guess it's good to know to leap off a ladder. It's down and jump. We can do some fast climbing by, I think, hitting up and circle repeatedly to grab ladders quicker. So we could skip that animation entirely. So you can see like how far we go with the slide. It's quite ridiculous. Like, look at that, chat. If you get it right at the edge, you just go flying. We won't be able to get up there by jumping. Let's build some crystals into the wall and use them for footholds. Press square to shoot crystals. So I think this is a really cool mechanic, and I wish more games had like interactive dungeons like that. We're going to be exploring basically every nuance of the crystal in the hard mode dungeons, which is kind of nice. Normal mode, I think at the most you have to do is footholds. If you shoot crystals at the enemy, you can contain their movements for a certain period of time. There are many other characteristics of crystal. You should experiment with them. Oh, we've been freezing them in place already, Freya. Don't worry about that. Trying to think where the bonus items are. I know where to go. It's just where the bonus items are. I might have to... I'm gonna hold off on that room briefly. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go here first. Oh, I hit square too slow. My bad, chat. I knew it was there. I thought he was just further in the room. Oh well, combat time.
Your mistake.
Yeah, that counter right there, if they attack her while she's in the counter, I think it does very strange things. Yeah, look at that attack, by the way, chat. Ridiculous. Do you like that super attack? Most people don't even see it when they play, because you have to unequip her weapon. It's quite ridiculous. It hits so many times. Wow, that one just completely whiffed us. That was just kind of embarrassing for him. I love it though, chat. If the other one targets right here... Oh, it did the other one. It's not what I wanted. It has to do like a jump attack for it to occur. So you might have noticed I couldn't combo with the spellcaster there. After any time a mage uses a spell for combat, in this case Firestorm for Jolanda, she's not able to attack for a few turns. We could get rid of that by comboing them while they're in the air. We can end up with the... Actually, we'll start with Freya's. So we can't attack with her for a while, so we can hit them in the air to get purple crystals.
Aether Strike.
So we'll start with Aether Strike, because I think it gives 20 energy. Oh, it only gives 10. Never mind. Terrible.
To stand against a god, such is your reward.
You know what? I don't regret hearing her line for getting the finishing blow.
They were no match for us.
Freya's quotes are something else. I love them, chat. Well, anyway, I thought it gave 20, so I was going to do 20 into Valkyrie's, I think 60 into probably Firestorm, Jolanda, and then always finish with Arngrim. So we're skipping a little bit of the puzzle, but if we went to where I was walking to previously, this column actually blocks the way forward. So in order to make progress, we actually have to destroy the pillar. So I think this is also a really cool aspect of Valkyrie profile, is that there are... Well, you could have quotes from Freya instead. I don't know about that, chat. I do like that you can interact with the dungeons and change them around. And I think this is just such a neat feature. It makes it so fun. And then for doing little side questy stuff like this, because some of them might not necessarily open up a path to continue, you get event XP. And we can use that to level new party members. And we're going to be saving that for basically as long as possible. You can also gain experience points from special actions that do not occur in the course of battle. Those experience points can be saved up in the experience orb. It can be freely given out to any of the heroes. Ideally, we actually don't even want to use it until we're at the end of the game, because XP will gradually scale, I believe. So like if I'm a high level, I'll get basically no experience from encounters. So I generally don't want to do that unless I'm trying to either send a character that I'm never going to play again, or I am attempting to reach like max level. Alright, there we go. See that treasure chest? Can you take it? I can. If I fail, I'm probably gonna land on that character. And that's why I said I'm avoiding the other encounters, because I like to botch things. A trap has been set on that treasure chest. There are 3 main types of traps. There are different ways to avoid different types of traps. You can jump, crouch down, or leave. But which one is the best here? It's funny because leave and jump cover most scenarios, as I said before. So if you jump backwards, you get out of there. For the time being, I recommend leaving as quickly as possible. We'll freeze him here. Oh, I bonked my head. Unfortunate. I don't believe in my momentum here. Okay, I chose leave that time. Got a vegetable seed. Look at everlasting life. Nice. Now you might have noticed that the ice crystals remain here for a little bit. We'd actually pick them up. We need to know that we could do that and stand on them, as that's an important mechanic. Oh, that guy's actually gatekeeping me. Yeah, see, that's the downside. I should have probably slid off the top to avoid that encounter. Oh well, that's what I get for doing things out of order, chat.
It shall be engraved upon your soul. Divine assault.
This is for you, chat. Completely unnecessary. But whenever we get to 100 hit count based off the attacks we use,
Return from whence. This is divine punishment.
we can use new skills. Yeah, Firestorm is so good. So good at building meter.
I grow tired of you.
This is my favorite one by far.
Final blast. Ha! Dead already?
Prepare to be cleansed. Divine assault.
You don't technically have to do this. Like, if you're fighting multiple enemies, it's probably best not to do it.
Aether Strike.
If, like, the enemy's gonna die anyway and just save it for another person. Oh, Aether Strike doing a lot even without a weapon.
Let the worms feed on thy flesh.
Oh, Freya, you're such an uplifting person. Yeah, he trapped me on the ladder.
Well, they were rather annoying.
So ideally, I should have slid off. I should have either gone to the left first or slid off. That's okay. Yeah, we're mostly just looking for bonus items now. We're just gonna take a little look around. Okay, I'm remembering some of this. I think I want to go to the left first, actually. Now this one's interesting. Oh, hello. Yeah, this one's interesting. So our goal is to just slowly climb up the wall. Here we go, chat. The platforming challenge. It's actually pretty easy. I forget where the chest is. Oh, almost messed it up there. I do forget where the chest is, though. I forget if it's in the middle or towards one side in particular. Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, suspicious chest. Walking away was the right decision. Got an Angel Curio. Savory. Quartz Gem. Nightshade. Let's take a look at some of those items we just acquired. If I remember correctly, Angel Curio is God tier. Oh, yeah, it is. Heck yeah, chat. This item is broken. This item is so broken. I cannot even tell you how amazing this item is for a low-level challenge. So basically, chat, anytime I die, this will revive me. So it says chance of breaking 30%. So 70% of the time, it's gonna revive me, and then I could get killed again and still revive, and then I could get killed again and still revive, and then I could get killed again and still revive. What an absolutely broken item, I love it. Now, I'm not allowed to transmute anything. Actually, speaking of which, now I remember why I couldn't remember where this is. But we can transmute some basic items here. So this vegetable seed, which is useless, some type of plant seed, can be turned into an elixir. We have Savory, which turns into a Banish, which I think just cures status ailments. We have Quartz Gem, which can turn into Malice Search, and we have Nightshade, which can turn into Combo Potion. Let's go ahead and get a Quartz Gem in here. It increases CP by 20, but by the end of the game, this is pretty irrelevant, to be honest with you. If you're playing normal mode, this is more important, but we're gonna go ahead and get Malice Search early. Ring Witch Warns wearer the danger when equip enemies with Wicked Attempt will flash red. Only Valkyrie can equip it. We'll take that. So we can go ahead and put that on as one of our optional items. Now we can see whenever an enemy is in a room. Get a nice little orb. Okay, we got through that. Ignored the combat chat. Oh, he almost got to do something. Again, I believe this is a purely optional area. Looks like it. This enemy is kind of annoying to deal with. It is possible to freeze him and never fight him, but unfortunately there's an item I want, and he's gonna be in the way, so I might as well just fight him, actually. I feel like me trying to freeze him, it would just be more annoying to me than anything else, now that I think about it. Speaking of which, let's just reset him. Oh, he came back. Yeah, like, what you can do is, like, ride him, quote-unquote, to get to the treasure chest, but it doesn't really matter.
To my side, my noble
I don't really care if they give first strike, chat. We're so early in the game, it just doesn't matter. Plus, you see stuff like this happening. Now that was a ton of treasure, chat.
Prepare to be cleansed.
Did you see how many purple crystals we got for putting that at the end? Ridiculous.
Fireball!
Aether Strike.
Not quite a fireball, chat. Yeah, we'll be doing that to cheese some items out, for sure.
I am Freya. Recall the name on your journey to hell.
Oh, Freya, your win quotes are always something else. So we'll do... Wait, Freya... Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Freya took all the CT. That's unfortunate. Jolanda just needed one more of those purple crystals to go to her to reduce the charge time. What a shame. Poor enemy, though. I know, chat. I got trolled. Might as well get more win quotes while we're here, chat. Is it necessary? No. But it is amusing. Yeah, sometimes if you cancel too quickly, their voice lines don't play.
Divine assault.
It's just a quirk of the game. It's like that in the original. I'll try to delay a bit so we can hear the voice lines.
Such is your fate.
There we go. We go tired of them, chat.
Finishing strike.
So anyway, Freya unequipped, so good at getting items. It just shows like if you get a multi-hit attack, how broken they are in this game.
I love a good fight.
Oh, Arngrim, never change.
Divine assault. Aether Strike.
Freya's one quote is just gonna be yes.
Let the worms feed on thy flesh.
So anyway, we got 2 bonus items out of it because I unequip her. Again, this is not normally possible unless you unequip her.
Did you think you could defeat me?
I'm actually trying to avoid bonus experience if you're curious. Like, I could get bonus experience. I don't want it, though. We got vegetable seed and a longsword. Nice. I don't think longsword is super useful at the moment, but I could double check. Yeah, it's a downgrade for us. I don't really know what the point of the longsword is, though, chat. It's just strictly worse than what we have. Oh, it's actually technically an improvement for Arngrim, which is funny. But not really worth it. Now, unfortunately, I did pause at kind of a weird moment. I was expecting that to happen. I forget how to dodge that chest successfully. The game does love to troll like that, though, for sure. I think the trap remains disarmed. It does not. I've learned the hard way, chat. Rest in peace. I think with like a well-timed jump, maybe you could get away from that. It's just annoying that sometimes they put those kinds of things on thin platforms. It's definitely meant to troll you. How much damage should I take? Get okay amount, I guess, from messing that up. I guess I could transmute one of these to just instantly get health back, I guess. Oh wait, she only has 300 total health. Oh, I'll just give it to Valkyrie then. Elemental Scepter, nice. We'll be using that, I think, immediately on Jolanda. We go from Ruby Mace, we get almost... Oh, wait, what? Wait. Wait a minute. Oh, no, I can't use this. No, I can't use that. Well, I could use this, but... Let me think about this. Okay, so for people not aware, this is one of the most broken items in the game, and I forgot you got it this early. I thought you got it in the next chapter. So for people not aware, there is an upgrade you can get for the sorcerers. So you can see, like, right now I'm doing a basic Firestorm, and it's, like, good at building meter, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. Elemental Scepter, the great magic that it performs in place of the normal spell, is ludicrously broken. It is just so overpowered. Now, what is not clear from people that have not played the game before is you might see that it says 50% chance of breaking. This actually only applies for when you do a the greater magic. So as long as you never ever use or Purify Weird Soul, it'll never break. So this is just like almost a triple damage weapon that gives you insane amount of resistance. That's what the RST is. So basically magic spells do not hurt her at all, and it just is ludicrously broken. We will be using one of these for sure on one of the later bosses of the game, and I care not for it breaking. I forgot how early you could potentially get it. That's actually busted. Actually busted, chat. Oops. Like in my way, partially. Got Foxglove. Fire Lance. A new spell, nice. This is the Book of Spells. Book of Spells? Yes, it's a book written about research done on certain magic spells. You can learn new spells by reading this book. In this world, there are many books to be found where ways of fighting and other things are described, in addition to books about magic. From these writings, you can acquire knowledge on many matters that you could not have obtained otherwise from experiences on the battlefield. Magic and skills are acquired when you use certain items. Skills is a single item that can be used acquired by anybody. Magic, however, is a single item that can only be acquired by one person. Okay, so we could learn a new spell right now, Fire Lance. It's not technically necessary. Fire Lance can send them up in the air, but so does Firestorm. So right now they kind of do the same purpose. I will show off that if you do get a book that matches, you can generally turn it into a new spell. So for example, if we get another sorcerer that doesn't know Firestorm, we could just swap Fire Lance for Firestorm. Now there's going to be a lot of complications into how that works later on, but we don't have any items that change how transmutation works. Ooh, just walked into him. I was reading chat at the worst time there. Again, this area completely optional, but I think it's worth it. I'm very tempted to propel myself across this gap. I'm thinking about it. This boat is taking forever to reach us. Now, one thing you could do with the crystals, and I'll show off not in this room, but like as soon as we get to at least an area that looks solid, you can actually give yourself momentum with the crystals. So for example, if I'm standing next to a crystal and I enlarge it by shooting it twice, and then I shoot it one more time, I can give myself like a forced jump arc. You might also notice that there's little sparkles that fall down. And you can also take advantage of this by popping it, and then if you manage to jump on it, you could use that to glide, and that could be useful for getting to certain areas. So there are a lot of mechanics with the crystal. I got scared there, chat. I really did not want to get into that encounter. Oh, game. I don't know where you want me to walk sometimes for these doors. So I think we've now acquired everything that was optional. We do have to always use a crystal here. So I believe there's nothing else hidden. Let's just continue this way for now. Interesting. Yeah, let's go back for that item. And a vegetable seed, nice. I don't think there's anything to the left here, but I'll double check. Yeah. Little jumps here and there. Now there is a place I could climb, and I believe I could technically skip this place. Speaking of which. What's interesting is if you stand on the ice shards, it doesn't actually weaken the crystal that's holding them. That's another way if you want to make like a safety area for platforming, you could do it. I wonder if I angle this correctly, if I can make the jump across here. I can, nice. We're just gonna dodge that. I'm not taking that damage, chat. So there we go, we use the physics for its intended purpose. Got treasure search. Mountless search I feel is not the most useful thing, to be honest, but treasure search is very useful for a blind playthrough. And considering I'm not going to be looking at maps for the most part, this will help me be aware if I missed any treasure. So anyway, ring which warns wearer of the presence of treasure when equipped with blue mark will appear. Only Valkyrie can equip it. I'm going to be seeing that text a lot where only Valkyrie can equip it. So right now we won't see anything because we just acquired all the treasure. Let's see. Don't think there's anything we could do there. This guy, yeah, I was gonna say, always jump scares me.
To my side, my noble.
Unfortunately, I missed the ladder. If I had made the ladder on that one jump, we would have been fine. Oh well. Yeah, this is the encounter I almost always get, even when I'm trying my best. He's too good, chat. Oh, oops. I didn't get to attack with the other characters. I waited too long, chat. I should just get end turn, it's fine. Oh, you know what? I don't think we could get the glitch because I switched attacks. If I did one where she teleports, I think it'll work. Oh well. Because I was thinking, she has to be in the teleport animation for the glitch to occur, visually speaking. It doesn't do anything for the gameplay, but it is very amusing whenever it happens. Oh wait, that was strong enough to kill in one hit? Uh oh. Man, these enemies are too weak with the elemental scepter, chat. It's too strong. Oops. My bad.
Get thee hence. Oblivion awaits thee.
We're just too powerful, chat. She's literally one-shotting the basic enemies. She's actually cheating. I forget if something's up here. That actually, I think is progress. My bad. No progress for us, chat. Oh. Oh, that was just rude. Right, chat? That was just rude. There's treasure here. Nice. So we could see... We were actually in this room before. We were just below. So we got the 2 chests that were there. Lampus Lily. Lux Glove. Phobias can be poisonous. Increases MP by 200. We could transmute it into an enemy search if we really want to. I mean, I guess? Knowing which ones were the person's enemies. We'll go for these basic items. I think technically it's better just to consume this for MP, because I don't think enemy search is the best thing ever, but to show off items, I might as well equip it. Yeah, Malice Search I don't think is as useful. Enemy Search is much more useful, because you'll get a ring designating that an enemy is nearby. And it gets stronger as you get closer. That helps you get an understanding of when you're trying to like speed run through a dungeon where the enemies are. Oh, if you hold up there, you always auto fall. I never knew that. That's so weird. Weird. I don't agree with that at all, chat. Anyway, we're up to our first boss. So chat, did you know you could just beat this boss with like 3 item uses? We don't even technically ever have to attack with the character to beat this boss. If you remember before, I'll just do it once just to showcase it. I believe if you get the ruby mace, and then you go to use item and you transmute the ruby mace, you could get something called the shadow gem. So this releases a magical darkness attack. You could basically beat almost the first half of the game almost purely with gems. Gems in this game are actually fairly strong. We can make the shadow gem turn into a flare gem if we really want to. We'll be conserving, I think, our MP here, but just to give you an idea, like, there's a lot of different ways you could play. Yeah, so if we're doing a low-level challenge, we have a lot of outs in case we get bad damage. But I figured I'd showcase that. Yeah, there's entire speedrun strategies that involve around just mass purchasing the ruby maces and then just constantly killing them with shadow gems. It does a lot of damage, surprisingly, especially this early in the game. Like, it's to the point where you could kill, I think, the boss in 3 and his minions in 2, which is quite ridiculous, I must say. We'll be playing, I guess, a more traditional style just to see what the boss does, I guess. But I'll acknowledge that strategy exists, and it makes the game very easy. But I'm gonna get some win quotes. Here they come. Elder Vampire says, "Why do you disturb me? It is my task to hunt those creatures who prey upon the living. Abomination, you have no place in this world. Hunt, you say? You amuse me. Very well then. Let us see if you have the strength to match those boastful words. I will not participate in this battle. Lenneth, let me witness your power. Use this sword. It will allow you to do a triple combo attack. Well, why, thank you. You borrowed Rider Palash. I don't know why she didn't give it to us earlier.
Come to me, Dark Warriors. Battle awaits us.
So the game is going to talk about being able to guard break them. As I said before, you could kill them purely with items and never actually bother with this mechanic. But anyway, let's read the tutorial. Dragon servants, they're masters of defense. Want to break through their guard with combination attacks. Guard crush. Breaks through perfect guard by doing a combo attack. It's not guaranteed, so be careful not to waste too much energy. So if we were to do normal strikes as Valkyrie, generally speaking, Arngrim's sword will always break guard. Not all the time, but generally speaking. However, if we had more CT, we could have used it to potentially combo spells. Spells are unblockable in this game, but since the game is going to waste our turn, I might as well as just use Shadow Gem on... do it on him, why not? Might as well showcase the chat. Yeah, by the way, Shadow Gem just one-shot the mini-boss. So, if you were wondering, chat... Oh, I guess we need more than that, then. I guess we need 4, because we need 2 for Elder Vampire. Yeah. Oh, we could guard crush by ourselves. No, and he dies anyway, so it doesn't matter. Oh, dang, I got the bonus XP. I didn't want it. Anyway, say goodbye to this boss, by the way, chat. Say goodbye.
It shall be engraved upon your soul.
He's gonna last maybe one more blast gauge. We'll see. And hey, because we got the triple attack, we get a special version of our special. You only prolong your suffering, chat.
Finishing strike. Final blast.
Oh, we were off by just like one hit, chat. What a shame.
Your time is short, monster.
I also love that quote. Oh, no. I don't want to use their special. We'll save that for later, chat. We'll save that for later. That would be the worst way to break that weapon.
Ha, did you think you could defeat me?
Love Arngrim's win quotes. Dang, chat, I leveled. Unfortunate. Again, normally in normal playthrough, you actually want to get the blue crystals. I really do not under any circumstance. Anytime I see the blue crystal, I messed up my combo. Just letting you know, chat, I don't want to see... I want to see the purple. I never want to see the blue. So unfortunately, we leveled up. So that means we get a little bit of health. We get a lot of capacity points. I think I'm going to take a safety point in first aid for every character. And from there, I guess it's just mostly maxing skills. So survival is probably one of the best alternate skills to get. Every skill level gives 200 health, which is amazing for the back row because their health totals are terrible. So we'll put like 1 point in survival for most of these characters. It'll stop us from getting one shot. It's generally worth it to put 1 point in. From there, I don't think there's anything else I really want. I think I'm actually going to save up for now. Let's go ahead and equip first aid on everybody. This is just free random healing. There's really no downside to taking it this early. Just 15% chance they heal somebody in the party. So, just even easier. Yeah, that 200 health on the mage is so big. Like, she went from 346 to 746. Almost literally doubled her health. It means less on Arngrim, but when we start getting into the later part of the game where we could get extra health, it'll be kind of nice. So we have discovered the Jewel Blade Grimrist. We're coming up to another mechanic of the game, so you can hear a little music is played. It gives us a warning. This is an artifact. All artifacts of the rightful property of Lord Odin. Return order evaluation will drop. Hey, Lord Odin, we got an amazing sword for you. I'm sure it would help you in your war against Valhalla. Oh, no, my finger slipped, chat. Oh, my finger slipped. Darn. I kept the item instead of sending it. What a shame. Well, surely that won't happen twice, chat. Hey, chat, look, it's a sealed box. I wonder what the sealed box does. Let's see. Okay, so they're warning us. We have to be careful or our evaluation level will drop. Surely this time I will... Oh, no, chat, we kept it. What a shame. We're in 3000 event XP. How clumsy of me, chat, I know. So, spoilers, chat. Because evaluation caps at 100, there's pretty much no reason ever to send items this early on to Valhalla. In fact, because we will potentially be transferring somebody at the end of every chapter, we're always going to end up with 100 evaluation anyway. So it doesn't matter. So we might as well keep the items. Now, what the game doesn't tell you is that these items either have A, an immediate use, B, a late game use, or C, have to be transmuted into something that is useful. Let's take a look at the items that we chose to keep, to see if any of them have any immediate uses. Generally speaking, the answer to that question will be no. But we can see the Jewel Blade Grimrist. As the name implies, scholarly fashion bejeweled sword with ferocity and belies its beauty. It is a one-hit weapon with terrible attack thrust, but it can cause instant death. And yes, chat, that does work on mini-bosses. And no, chat, that's not fair. I don't know why you could just get instant death this early in the game. Anyway, sealed box. Small, mysterious sealed box, impossible to open, its contents remain a mystery. We can transmute the sealed box to become a noble elixir, which will give us, I think, a full heal, but not worth it at the moment. So we're going to hold on to this to see if it becomes something interesting. And also, interestingly enough, even if you don't find the item useful, if you wanted MP, we could literally get over like 6,000 MP. So if all you wanted to do, chat, was spam Shadow Gems and beat every encounter, I already can make like 50 of them just from these two items. Shake your head, chat. Anyway, I will probably switch over to the Ludicrous Sword. Why not? Why not just get insta-death always? Actually, out of curiosity, can he... Oh, he can't use the other one. That's a shame. So anyway, evaluation in this game doesn't really matter. We want it to be at 100 if we want to see all the potential items we get at the end of a chapter. But honestly speaking, really not important. The only way it makes a big impact on the gameplay is if you let it go to 0, which the game will warn you not to do. It'll warn you when you get to 1 point. If you choose to then not do anything to get your evaluation above 1 point, you will go into the bad ending. So you just want to make sure it never hits 0. That's your only goal through casual playthrough. I don't... Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of, like, Soten. I went to hit, like, or down an X, which is normally, like, a slide button in those kinds of Castlevania games. So I gotta untrain myself to do that. If you're wondering why I keep doing crouch sword strikes, I'm just used to those controls more. I'll adjust to it, though. I think that's all we have, though. So again, we could go back and fight these people, but we've seen enough encounters. I had a feeling I'd bump into a few, so we've seen all the combat we're gonna do here. I'll save again, why not? Now keep in mind, it's not really worth healing your characters to full, ever, in this game. It's only heal them enough so that they don't die. That's really it. Because I will have, as I said before, a lot of time left over in the chapter, so if I really want to, I could spend some of those units of time to full heal myself. So say goodbye to Freya, chat. This will be the last time she's in our party. And we're gonna keep all of our items because it's funny. We shall not meet for some time. Just a moment. When the Anheriar have been trained, they are sent to Asgard. At that point, you will finish the first cycle of your appointed tasks. I understand. The time you are allotted is not limitless, Lenneth. Just as time passes on the earth below, time in Asgard also grinds steadily onward. At set intervals, I will undertake to inform you of the events taking place in Asgard. Thank you. I understand. Game time is stored as chapters and periods. Periods are the time spent in towns or dungeons. It's also important to note that if you go to recruit characters, / go to see their events, it will also cost 1 period to do so. The chapter is over after the passage of the 7 periods, after which there will be a report from Freya. The game is composed of 8 chapters. The final battle, Ragnarok, will commence when there are no more periods remaining until the end of the world, so be forewarned. So 8 chapters in the game. I will state that, generally speaking, if you come across a dungeon, for the most part, you could do it in later chapters. I think there are 2 exceptions to that rule total in the game, which I think is also kind of cruel if you don't know that and plan on skipping it for the next chapter. But generally speaking, if you unlock optional dungeons or any of the hard mode dungeons, you could do those at any point in time. In fact, the speedrun route unlocks a lot of things early on, but doesn't bother doing them until almost halfway into the game, funny enough. I have one more word for you. That warrior. I don't think he's suited to become a hero. Yeah, see, this is the game's way of telling you not to put stuff into traits, but if you've been playing around with it, you might have already done it before this point, so I think this tutorial is actually way, way, way too late. So say goodbye to those points if you put them there. You mean Arngrim? Yes, of course he is brawn enough, but does he have what it takes inside? That stuff that makes up an Anheriar is much more than strength alone. We daughter. Good luck. Taking leave of the Anheriar is but a temporary measure. It's nearly permanent, depending on the ending, to be honest with you. Oh, and Lenneth, if you don't understand the plan for the training of the Anheriar or for battle, then ask him/her your questions. Well then, we will meet at Ragnarok. I almost never talk to this creature. We might as well talk to the creature in this playthrough. Sprite says, I will remain here. Until then, Lenneth, as a token of my esteem. The abilities of the Anheriar of Asgard are not determined by strength alone, but Anheriar's personality has a major impact on the outcome. Physical strength alone is not enough. You must send to Asgard only those warriors who have undergone personal growth. Well, of course the point is, how much? Anheriar's activity in Asgard are also dependent on the warrior's armament. It's very different. You know, they say this, chat, and honestly, you could give them pretty basic gear and still be fine. Like, if you leave them unarmed, I think it does increase their chances of dying in the chapters. But I think as long as you give them vaguely the right traits and you give them weapons, they generally won't die. I think the exception to that rule is that they ask for a swimmer and you send somebody that can't swim, but that's kind of on you. And that's also cruel and funny that the game accounts for that. Even if you make a mistake, don't send someone who's lightly armed. Don't think that just because Asgard is the world of the gods that there won't be any need for armaments. You understand me? Well then, good luck. We could chat to them one more time for different text. Lenneth, you must be tired. Is there something you wish to ask? We can ask about the Anheriar qualities Freya has requested. It's actually funny because she didn't tell us what they were. So by the way, chat, this is very easily missed. What does she even want in this chapter? There doesn't seem to be anyone with the ability that is needed. There is someone who has some amount of that ability, no problem. Necessary hero value 40. So yeah, now we know what the goal is with the personality traits. So all those level ups that we just attained, technically, we could just put into the skill traits. And as you can see, it's a little confusing, but think of it this way. The more, we generally want to level the ones with the biggest bonuses. If I remember correctly, getting a -2 here, I think decreases how much it applies to us. Like right now you see it's like a -8 total, but I think we could reduce how much it subtracts. I think is how it works. I think. We'll play around with that in a little bit for sure. Right now it doesn't really matter though, because we're not going to be sending her. Oh, I should talk to the sprite one more time about battle. Oh no. Chat, we're not going to read all this. I'm going to spare you this. I think I've described most of these already. I don't think most of these are all that interesting, to be honest. I guess we could look at lists of fighting methods. I guess we haven't talked about that. Alright, this is just general strategy. Person with high number of hits should go first. Yeah, there is a lot of text here. if you don't use your head, you won't become more skilled. What a quote, chat. Again, we're just gonna very briefly go through this. Yeah, it is important to have a high hit rate in general, because that does determine how often they block. I think that's the only thing we didn't discuss as of this point. Oh my gosh, chat, this is just a wall of text. I will not subject you to the full tutorial. Unless you really, really want to go through it for completionist's sake. But I think as long as the information is described to you, it's fine. And you got a general sense of how ridiculously long that is. Speaking of which, I guess since we have spare skill points, we could take a look and I could just reload. So if I take a -3 here... Oh, I don't have enough... Oh, it needs 20 CP to adjust. Okay, well, let's do... This one's... It's got 4 ranks of -3. What happens if I put a point in this? Oh, I understand. Okay, that makes sense. So it's just saying because I have 8 ranks, for example, in this, every time I spend 20 CP, I'll adjust her hero value by +3. So we do have to kind of look at what their traits are to see which ones are the most point efficient, as we will not be power leveling them for the most part, with the exception being the end of the game, because we just don't care anymore. But we now have to use the ice to escape here, chat. Exiting to the overworld. So I think what we'll do, chat, is we are going to probably unlock one more character, and we're going to pause just before we do any more dungeons. So you can see the number of periods has adjusted. It said 30 earlier, by the way, chat. Now it's 24. So I'm not really sure why the game has different periods like that. But it is warning us there are 220 periods until the end of the world. So we could technically revisit any location that we see on the map. In fact, we're going to do that now. I'm going to put a save here, because I will need this actually for other purposes. Can I put this on the other memory card? I can. Good. I don't want to have to replay the entire intro, chat, but I'll need this for setting up some alternate ending stuff. So we're going to leave that there for now. But from our main playthrough, I don't need this extra save. So what I'm actually looking for, chat, is Artolia. Also, by the way, if you ever overshoot something in the overworld, if you hold square button, you could just kind of rotate around, which is useful. Oh, this is Camille. No, I don't want to do that. Artolia was down here. Yeah, it was. So if we revisit certain locations, we can end up getting bonus items. Generally speaking, those items could be found elsewhere, so if you're just looking for 100% item completion, it doesn't really matter. But I will say, getting this early is very, very, very useful for an upcoming dungeon. Not the one we're going to immediately, but one we'll probably see next week. Artolia says, or description says, Artolia is a small, weak country in the center of the continent. Trapped between their larger neighbors, Artolia's people live in constant fear. It has become a major center for mercenaries. So because we have Jolanda and we also have Arngrim, we will get a little bit of a cutscene here at some point. But I believe we have to go back to Arngrim's house for it to occur. You can see we're kind of in our normal human disguise here. I don't believe anybody says anything new. Take a quick look through. Dialogue in this game can be kind of finicky. Yeah, I have to be like kind of close to them, but also not past them. Let's go visit Arngrim's residence. I believe we should get an item now. Again, this is also extremely missable, because I'm not sure if people would think to come back here. There we go, we're getting a cutscene now. My father gave it to me years ago. You're welcome to use it. You got the Dragon Slayer. Okay, so it's not the sword I thought it was, but we did get a sword here. Now we're gonna take a look at the Dragon Slayer. We will not be equipping this, because unfortunately this game has a mechanic that I kind of don't like, to be honest with you. So this is described as a sword with incredible power against dragons. It has no ether coating it, so it must be forged by humans. 5% chance of breaking. So this is a extremely, extremely good sword. It will almost always ignore enemy defense values. It will almost always do full attack damage. It is triple attack, which we only have 1 attack now with our current character, and it is nearly double the damage. Now, what it doesn't quite make clear, when it says incredible power against dragons, it means that we will be doing percentage health on them. And because we can hit 3 times, we will actually kill any dragon monster in the game in 3 hits. So if we set, for example, Jolanda up to use a spell so that the enemy stops blocking, this sword will lead to an insta-death on anything that is a dragon. It is very, very overpowered. Now, the downside to it is that it has a small chance of breaking. So you will not see me using this as we go through the dungeons. However, if we know a boss is coming up, or if we're not sure what we're gonna fight, it is so broken. We're gonna be cheesing a lot of fights with this at some point. But for now, we'll refrain from using it. So that's where spectacles might be useful, is that if you're really not sure what the enemy type is, I feel like for the most part it's self-explanatory, but if you were really, really not sure, spectacles would help tell you. Tales of Zestiria taught us anything can be a dragon. Right, so I think, for example, like those lizard folk, I think we're called the Dragon Knights, I think are also typed as dragon. So technically in this upcoming dungeon, well actually we won't see it this session, but in an upcoming dungeon, we could technically use that to insta-kill them. And we'll be using that, I think, to clear one of the harder dungeons of the game. Yeah, I'm just double checking. I don't think there's any new dialogue here. I don't think they remark about us being Valkyrie or not. Yeah. Okay. So we got the bonus cutscene. Again, very easily missed. I think you can only get it in this chapter as well, so if you revisit, it's not going to be super useful. Oh well. So yeah, it is extraordinarily powerful. So between that and the Shadow Gems, you have everything needed to clear, like, the next 3 chapters. Not an exaggeration, it is that powerful. Especially when you do your final blast. Oh my gosh, the damage on that is insane. But I will say, what makes a big difference between the mages and the physical attackers, which is very, very, very important to note, and which is why I'm not equipping it, is that normal strikes, as in just doing the 3-hit combo, will trigger the weapon break chance. So potentially on my 3-hit combo, I could literally break it on the first strike that I do in a combo. And that sucks so much if that happens. So we're not going to rely on that for normal combat, because we do a lot of normal strikes, generally speaking, with melee characters. For mages, we never do normal strikes, so never breaks. I don't know if that's an oversight or on purpose, to be honest with you. Sometimes in this game, I'm not entirely sure what's intentional. So we're going to go ahead and do a spiritual concentration, and we should be getting another character.
Being picked was this flower's destiny.
Destiny? Do you know what it's called? Lord Bellis!
Please, can't you save her? I was a slave to circumstance.
So you have nothing to say to me, Tom?
Wow, we actually got a character I was not expecting. Okay. Very, very interesting. The first time we played this, I didn't get this character until chapter 3. So as I said before, there are certain characters that will always appear in a chapter, but there are some characters that are on a rotation. Depending on your playthrough, you might see them in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. It's actually really good that we got this character now, because this character qualifies the most for being sent up to Valhalla. And that actually gives us a real choice in the future. No screams of horse this time. I already forgot where it wanted me to go. That's Jeroboam, that's not right. Oh, there we go, there's last one. Merchant town in the Jeroboam region with the thriving slave trade. Troops are mustering in the city due to the threat of invasion from Vilnor. Yeah, that I do feel like it makes it kind of fresh on a replay for certain. Because last time, as I said before, we didn't see this for a long time. I feel like this was the character chat did not like, so I have a feeling this character will end up being sent up pretty early on. We'll see. But let's go ahead and recruit them. Asuka says, "What a beautiful flower. Do you know what it's called?" Melina says, "Asuka, do you want that badly not to go?" She dots us. They have a very pilgrim look about them, with the black and the the brown trim. Got like the bonnet on. Dang, we snatched that flower, chat. Lord Belinus, give it back. I do not like slave auctions. Don't make me watch. We have to do this, Asuka. My wife and Maria are gone now. You cannot take care of the mansion by yourself. The one you buy will be well treated, but when I think of the fates of the others, I do not wish to go. But I need you to go, Asuka. I do not speak their language. I need your help to pick a good worker. Nun and priest? I can see that too. I cannot do it, to have that kind of power over someone's life. But it is well enough to pick a flower? Yeah, chat's starting to remember this guy. We sent him almost immediately in our first playthrough. But we'll see, chat. We'll see how the chat feels. We'll see how closely it follows through the other playthrough. How is choosing a servant any different from picking a flower? I think that line made the chat mad. I think that line made the chat very mad last time. I don't blame chat for being mad at that line. Asuka ... him as she should. Being picked was this flower's destiny. Destiny? She more looks a nun in her sprite. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. She does look more like a nun in the sprite. Destiny is the path chosen for us by the gods. Please, please forgive me. I just felt so sorry for her. I will pay her upkeep with my own salary, so please allow her to stay. Young Belinus there. Please, father, I promise you. Freya and I will take good care of her. Look at that face from father. Very well, she's your responsibility, Maria. Educate her. Are you sure that was a good idea, Maria? I am sorry, young lord. It's okay. Do you know what her name is? Her name is Asuka. Asuka? That's a Yamato name. Yes. Ah! Finally, we get to see your face. The scary man is gone, so don't cry anymore. Oops, I thought I hit advance there for a second. There aren't any today. ... says Belinus, and the chat. Being picked was this flower's destiny. Oh, we're flashbacking to a scene.
Destiny? Was it destiny that killed my wife and Maria?
I was gonna say, we're gonna go flashback already? That was quick.
Was it destiny that sent my friends and my father to die in a distant war? Is it the reason I am here now? The reason I met Asaka?
Lord Belinus? I am fine. Well, we should head home. Yes, Lord Belinus. A specter? What manner of being are you? No, it can't be. Your home is fallen under a vampire's curse. The young lady is in danger. Asuka? She is yours, Lady Beliza. This is the final sacrifice. Our agreement is now complete. Asuka, Asuka! It's fine, you don't need to save this one. Dang, chat. Please, can't you save her? It is already too late. No one can defy their destiny. You speak of destiny? As if such talk could possibly ease my mind? I loved her. There is still a way. I'll do anything, tell me. The ritual of soul transfer. It means if you truly desire it, you may take her place, but you would have to die in her stead. I was a slave to circumstance. There is nothing I could say. I guess this is sort of redeeming for him, so I guess it's okay. We're actually going to talk about this in a little bit. I'm going to wait for the cutscene to conclude, as this is one of the most incomplete sub-stories in the game, which is very unfortunate we got it so early, but I'm going to have to give this one some context.
Let us go.
The master's dresser? This? This is nothing to me. The forces of Beliza. Human blood is the catalyst of their simple but ruinous powers. It might be Beliza, actually. Lust, passion, and jealousy are all the immense? The Dark Lady. I've never actually said that word out loud before. Beliza. So, okay, we're gonna go to the overworld. We're gonna talk about that because this one needs a whole bunch of context. So it hints that there's gonna be like this big other power, and they set up this lady, Beliza, which all the dark forces follow. The game never actually does anything with that. It's not in the US version. So, oops. So I'm gonna tell you what should have been there. That way we have more context as to what's supposed to happen. So it's supposed to be implied that the wife of Belinus, who we just recruited, was actually jealous of Asuka, and that she had formed a pact with the dark forces, and that's why potentially she died, as well as Maria, and then finally I think Asuka, because that's why they say final sacrifice. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a weird phrase because it's not given any other context. So I think originally when they opened up the drawer and she said this is nothing to me, I think it's supposed to be proof of the pact in the Japanese version. Now that vampire plays a bigger role in the manga, but in the video games, that vampire we see there doesn't do anything else for the rest of the game. I will not talk about what the purpose of that vampire is until later. But remind me, chat, if I don't talk about it by the time we get to like chapter 3 or chapter 4. But in any case, we now have a new party member. So we can put Belinus in the party. Love him in his super action pose. Let's take a look at his status. He starts with a fairly high hero value of -5, which, you know, it still sounds terrible, but the amount of points it takes to go to 40 or 60 is like minimal. So he's very easy to send up for several chapters. I believe offhand, I think this chapter, the next chapter, and chapter 4, I think he qualifies for. So ideally, you always want to have this character by chapter 2, as he's the character I almost always send to chapter 2. Except on the first playthrough, where we didn't get him till chapter 3, and I panicked. So I was like, what do I do? My normal flow is interrupted. But anyway, A nobleman holding a high office in Jerusalem. With his powers of leadership, he has earned the loyalty of knights and commoners alike. He stands for fairness and justice in a corrupted and decadent kingdom. Now, what's also very annoying about this character, and why I'm kind of glad we got him early, because this is going to be very annoying for me to fish for later. And I'm actually going to override this now, because I don't think it matters. Is that there's actually a hidden cutscene with him, but it doesn't have any guaranteed trigger. So we're gonna hopefully see it in this playthrough without me needing to reset like 5 million times in order to see it. But we'll see, chat, we'll see. But it's supposed to go more into the fate of Asuka. I don't think we saw it in the first playthrough, because I was not even aware that that was a thing. But we're gonna try really, really hard to try to get all the optional cutscene stuff. And if you're wondering why I'm saving, it's because depending on who you send up, their hero value, the armaments, who else you've already sent up, it like slightly manipulates the RNG for what cutscenes you see. And in fact, certain cutscenes override other cutscenes, kind of like the Hades dialogue backlog we've seen in our other stream games. So to see every cutscene in the game is a little annoying, I will say. But I'll try my best, chat. We'll see what happens. If we're lucky, we'll get a conversation with him and somebody else talking about Asuka's fate. Now, unfortunately, they said from online interviews, or at least from what I could read the transcripts of, that originally they were going to have more follow-up to Asuka, but that's all we really see of her for the rest of the game. So a little unfortunate, chat. They originally wanted to add in content where they gave her more of a conclusion, where she kind of takes over the role of the Lord, but that's not in the game. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. The NA version has some weird dialogue cuts. I think this is the one that's the most impacted. The other ones are fairly minor and not really that important. But I feel like this one in particular... Oh, we got the Cave of Oblivion already? Okay. I said before I'm going to do the dungeons in order, but this one is like the purest optional dungeons. And we don't have all the characters yet. I think I'm going to break that rule immediately. So those not aware, we could look at the description, but I don't plan on going inside. Cave of Oblivion. It is said that the jewels and monsters that appear in the cave are different each time it is visited. The cave is a natural wonder, the envy of adventurers, but be extremely wary here. The monsters and other magical beings can be extremely powerful. So what the game also doesn't really tell you is that we could be ending up fighting Chapter 3 bosses as early as Chapter 1, which is absolutely absurd, and I don't know why they would do that. So we will still do that as a challenge. We will try killing some of those enemies. As the game hints, it is complete RNG, what dungeon you get. There are ways to manipulate it by, I think, overworld movement and I think character levels. So like if you rest a certain amount of times and then move towards it, I think it also changes what area you see. But I think once it's summoned, I don't think the RNG could be changed. It's not something I've played around a lot with, so I'm sure there's people that know more about the mechanics of it. But I know for certain we will have some very random things. If we are lucky/unlucky, we will see the Undead Dragon, as that enemy is nearly impossible to kill at this point in the game. If we have something that instantly kills them, like the Dragon Slayer, it's not too bad. But if we don't have it equipped, it's GG. That thing is going to be doing like 3k a hit to us. It's absolutely absurd. So anyway, I'm going to acknowledge that. But we'll be doing that soon.
Anything I say is only going to make her feel worse. No! I can't stand it! Stop it! Somebody stop it! I'll wait for you. I'll come here and think of this as our special place. I won't die. I'll come back to you.
The chat, that is the voice of Mokuba. Or Krellman Fierge. Something like that. Expect me to get all the French wrong, chat. It's gonna have to live with it. I think I just called this Krellman. I think it's what I called it in the original playthrough. This kingdom controls most of the eastern continent. The citizens have been brainwashed into leading a self-righteous holy war against their neighbors. Let's go ahead and go recruit another character, chat. It's Krellman, chat, exactly. It's like a Digimon. Indeed it was in VP2 as well. Just immediately starting with a funeral, nice. Priest says, Battle Maiden, please light our way so that we may walk the path of courage. That spirit, it shall never be despoiled. You didn't even get to see that one die. It's a new record. Like, ding, 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 ding. Dead character. True story, chat. So not every single location will end up with a boss fight. So I think a lot of the early ones, we're mostly just going to be witnessing their, like, final moments. But there are exceptions to that rule where we interfere with their fate. We'll be seeing that as we go along. Llewellyn. I think I said that right. Says, sorry, Milia. Were you waiting long? It's okay. I love this place. I'd love to just stand here and listen to the rustling leaves. When the wind blows just right, it sounds like the waves lapping on a shore. I never noticed it before. Now I know what they mean by a sea of trees. Thank you, chat. Yes, that's why I wanted you to come here. Why? You're going to sea, aren't you? As a soldier? To war? So you knew. Yes, that's why my mother told me to forget you. Maybe you should listen to her, Milia. Don't say that. I'm gonna wait for you. When I come here, I feel like I'm closer to you. But not just that, it's more than that. I feel like you're really here. You're together with me. Milia. I promise I won't die. Wait for me. Milia's got the Jolanda forehead going on. Not just being cruel and judgy today. I will. When I come back, we'll get married. Uh-oh, chat. He's only 30 days from retirement. And he's also in Valkyrie profile. Legends say that the lotus flower grants eternal life. When you give a lotus flower, it means you are praying for their eternal life. Thank you, slow text. How horrible. They said it was a war that we could not lose. Llewellyn, I have to talk to you. My mother wants to arrange a marriage for me. I told her no, of course. All she cares about is her own social status anyway. She's just wasting her time. I'll never marry anyone else. No! This noise! It's all wrong! Stop! Somebody stop it! An empty coffin. I can't believe you're really dead.
Are you certain about this?
What could I possibly say? There are no words.
If you believe that we cannot do anything for you humans, then you are mistaken.
Huh?
The death of a loved one. For they that remain, the wounds grow deeper and deeper. They that remain grow weaker and weaker, an agony incomparable, their hearts in bondage. Can you not see it? She has ceased to live, frozen in time. It is the same as if you had slain her with one of your arrows.
So what should I...
There is no need to pretend, simply do what you can.
Llewellyn. Forgive me. I'll always be watching over you.
This is not my task. I am no goddess of love.
We are no goddess of love. So actually, chat, I forgot to pick up some items here. Hopefully this doesn't make a difference. I'm gonna make another save just in case it does. So there's actually quite a few items we can get by revisiting locations. I forgot how much you could actually do in Chapter 1. I'm gonna make another save here. We're immediately gonna go back into Krelmon. And we actually have to go back to Belenus' location. With the bushy stuff, we'd have demons to slay, something like that. So we're gonna go ahead and get some optional items. I'm not sure if this particular item actually shows up anywhere else. Let's talk to all the people here. And I think what we'll do is once we acquire all the items, we will stop when we unlock the final dungeon of the chapter. So we have a named character with the portrait here. Interesting. I received a report that something was going on here. Vaughn says, is that you? Max says, hey, I don't like the feel of this. Let's get out of here. Gunter says, I didn't do nothing. So very interesting. We're actually going to see those characters much later on. I forgot they could even appear here. That's cool. Woman says, a lotus flower is a symbol of men's hopes. Yes, flowers and hope both wither with the passing of time. Well, that is a super bleak outlook. Jeez, chat. Anyway, let's go to Janus's house. Janus dots us. So yeah, you can meet a lot of characters either we will end up fighting or recruiting very early. It's very interesting. Or at least interacting with. I have to say we don't fight every character we see. But definitely very interesting that you can meet some of these characters very early and out of order. So that's a nice touch. So if we go to Llewellyn's house, there's nothing there. But you might imagine if we go to the meetup location, we will be getting some extra content. We could check up Amelia. Talk to her father, I suppose. I knew it. I knew this was gonna happen. Amelia. Amelia dots everything. Go to the castle square. Sure, why not? Talk to the guard that's here. Just in armor, even though you're a girl? Yes. Our gender does not stop us, foolish knight. Armor isn't just for lessening the damage you take, you know. Take helmet, for example. It makes it tougher to go unconscious. Boots affect your dodging ability. The gauntlets improve your chance of defending a blow. Just because the defensive power is low doesn't mean you can ignore defensive items other than armor. I mean, he's not... I mean, that's actually useful. What happens if I say no? I see. He just seems disappointed. So that was a bit less of a weighted question than I thought it was. Go ahead and go through the gates here. What's this? It is a necklace. It is worn by women who pray for the safe return of their lovers. You found the goddess pendant. Well, let's go see what this is exactly. Goddess pendant. Pendant decorated with the Battle Maiden's image. Darkness damage minus 50%. Wow. Ridiculous. Probably put it on Arngrim. Also, it reduces overall damage by 20? Wow. This early in the game, that is so big. I mean, enemies right now are doing about 100 damage. So cutting out 20 is like literally 20% damage reduction. Plus minus 50% on dark attacks on top of that. I believe it applies the damage percentage first. So if they do, for example, 1,000 damage, it cuts it to 500. Then our RDM applies, if I remember correctly. This is extremely powerful. The Arngrim just became tank god. Also really funny we didn't give it to the archer, who it probably technically belongs to. But yeah, Amelia didn't pray hard enough. Anyway, great early item. Love it. We're going to be wielding that pretty much the entire game until we get some very specific accessories. Like Angel Curio will be basically mandatory later on. In the post-game dungeon, not for normal playthrough. So I want to make sure we didn't miss out on anything. So I'm actually going to go back to the bottom left. My bad. I should have double-checked my brief little point of notes. Oh, I went too far. I think it was Lassen. Hopefully we can still get the item here. We should be fine. As long as we don't send them up before. That's also the downside, is if you were playing on normal mode, they would have enough points for you to send them immediately, so you would also miss out on the opportunity for these items, since they have to be in your party in order for you to receive the item. Let's go to Asuka's room. Asuka. Found a pressed flower. That's all he says? Okay. Sure, why not, chat? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the pressed flower. Get another accessory. Somewhere. There it is. Pressed flower made by Asuka. Poison damage minus 90%. Oh my gosh. We're in chapter 1 and we have near immunity to an element already? Well, hello Valkyrie. Are you ready to never die? I hope you're ready to never die. So we reduce darkness damage by 50% and poison damage by 90%, which is actually useful because I believe the upcoming dungeon, which we won't see this session, does both of these types of damage. We are basically immune already. Yeah, that pressed flower is serious business, chat. What a great secondary accessory. Yeah, the other one giving 20 RDM is useful pretty much throughout the whole game, except for the post-game. But even then, what makes it useful is it gives dark resistance, so it doesn't matter either way. It still scales pretty well. Pressed flower, if they try to use, I think it's poison blow on us, we're just completely immune. More or less. Which is good, because that means we don't really need magic resistance. You know what, there's a surprising lack of people to talk to in this town. A little disappointed, chat. Kind of hoping we could get more lore by coming around here. Going to the other location was really good, because we got to see some... well, quite a few portrait characters, actually. So, that's it? Nobody else is in this entire town? That's disappointing. Oh well. Well, we looked around, chat. So again, the goal is that any dungeon we see, we're going to eventually do within the chapter. I think might be a more clear version of the run. Cave of Oblivion, I will always do last, as that is going to be my last chance to get XP for a character. I generally will never backtrack to any dungeon, so once we see it once, we generally will never go to it again. I think there's only one exception to that rule, and I think that is for plot reasons. Even then, I don't technically have to visit it twice, but we'll end up visiting twice, I think. But let's do one more spiritual concentration, as there's a dungeon I'm expecting to see. Actually, there's 2 dungeons I'm expecting to see. I take that back, chat. We got the Souled Catacombs, which is only available in normal and hard difficulty. If you're playing easy mode, you're already missing content. There should be one more dungeon to unlock. Oh, a character? Oh, interesting. We didn't get anything this time. Oh. I'm sorry, I forgot. I think there's actually... I'm sorry, we don't get to go to that dungeon in hard mode. There's something called the Forest of Woe, which is what easy mode normally gets. But I guess you can't get to it in hard mode. The more you know, chat. Anyway, I'm gonna save over this one. So we have 13 periods. If I really want to rest, I can rest for 3 periods to full heal. So I could full heal after both of these dungeons and be completely fine, as that will take a grand total of 10 points, and I still have 1 period left over. And honestly, I don't really need to do anything at the moment. Now, I will be stopping here, as I need to consider plans of what to do for the optional cutscene stuff. But I guess we'll take a look at Llewellyn. Curious if I could get away with this or not. I guess we'll see. So, bow people can shoot in the back row. If you don't want to use mages, this is your alternative. Let's take a look at both of... Not both these characters. Let's look at the profile image of Llewellyn, whose hero value is negative 88, by the way. He's only really sendable in this chapter if we were going to send him. And generally speaking, that's what people end up doing. I will state from the speedrun perspective, you don't actually send any character ever. And he actually has a hidden ability that people might not know about if they send him early that makes him kind of broken. His damage will never be anything too crazy, but he's got some interesting stuff. Actually, I forgot to state, chat. This is kind of important to know, but each character actually has their own set of resistances. So, like, I naturally have immunity basically to Holy as the Valkyrie, but I don't have any resistance to Darkness without accessories. So you could kind of look at that and determine, you know, what characters might be best for a boss, if you technically want to optimize it. Just kind of one of those fun facts. Things that don't usually make a big difference in gameplay, but I figured I'd just mention it since we're on the screens. Anyway, let's read Llewellyn's backstory. Gentle young man from Krelmon, pressed into the military service by his fanatical and self-righteous country. It is a tragedy that such a peaceful soul should be sent to his death on the fields of battle. You know what I always thought about it, chat, is that it comes with the fact that he came back in an empty coffin. I'm curious if it's implying that he died by falling overboard, because that would be like one of the few scenarios where you wouldn't have any body whatsoever. So, as you might notice, he can't swim. If the game requests for somebody to swim, don't send it. Don't send him. He's just gonna die immediately. It's so cruel. So you might notice this character has a ton of traits that are negative. So we could spend 2 points and end up with a +7, or spend 6 and get rid of 8, or spend 6 and get rid of another 8. So I think for our point buy value, we're going to be getting a lot of points into Sirius. Now, he needs to level quite a bit if we're going to end up sending him. However, we only need about, I don't know, maybe 70 CP. So if we don't level any of his combat stuff, I think we could get him in just 2 levels. So we'll probably end up leveling these 2 characters. I will probably save Belinus for Chapter 2, I'm thinking. Now, I will talk briefly about their abilities, since we're at the end of the stream and we have some free time anyway. Their attacks... Extreme Void is actually fairly damaging. This one's probably one of the better, like, damaging moves. It's not the best for combos, but it also has a really low charge time, so it's pretty easy to restore itself. So I feel like this one ends up being underrated. I think this one ends up being one of the, like, the top 10, I would say. Top 10 of the characters. Not anywhere near as good as, like, the top 5, for sure, but really solid. Pretty easy to put in most chains. Layer Storm is very disappointing. It looks like it should do a lot of damage, but most of the time it will not hit smaller characters. However, against really large targets, it will full hit, and it does okay. But overall, I feel like this character, Llewellyn, is kind of disappointing. You might also notice when they come into the party that they don't have any equipment. So no matter what, I'm going to have to divine some items for them. So, like, for example, I could get one for Belinus. We don't have any spear users. There's no reason not to get Hack Blade, I guess, if I just want a small increase. We get crossbow. I think I'll take that. I think for now I'm going to hold up on any crazy purchases. I just want to see something. Which one is the attack I'm looking for to show off to chat? This. This attack is actually stupid. We'll be seeing this very soon. Yeah, Twin Shot seems like it'd be more useful because it fires arrows. But here's a little thing that the game doesn't tell you about this attack, chat, and you will not figure this out from casual playthrough for the most part. This aiming wisp is unblockable. So because I don't have a mage, I don't have a way to set up good combos unless I have aiming wisp. So I basically could do whatever I want on them, and there's nothing they could do. So all that guard break nonsense it was trying to tell us before doesn't matter. We have instant guard break. Yeah, that's really, really strong. He unfortunately has terrible stats, so his damage will never be high. And in fact, his Purify Weird Soul / special attack is one of the worst in the game. But that attack alone is top tier in his use in speedrunning. Just that attack, though. The rest of his moveset, just kind of eh. And what's interesting, I want to see if we can get away with this. Oh, we can. Interesting. So, Villainous is one of the few characters that can use Valkyrie's weapons, and Valkyrie ends up with a lot of really crazy items overall. So, I'll probably keep him with the insta-death, to be honest with you, most of the time. Now, funny enough, I was gonna say, we have an attack called Tri-Blast, which is absolutely phenomenal. What an amazing ability. Valkyrie with bow is my favorite Valkyrie. I do not like using a sword with her, to be honest with you. You might notice that when I swap back and forth, it tells... Yeah, vertical raid is good if I want to launch them in the air. I don't really want to launch them in the air. But I will say, bolt crossbow... We're going to be enjoying that Tri-Blast. This is going to potentially earn us a lot of crystals and or treasure and or XP, I guess. Yeah, Nibelon Valesti, so good for combos. Easily top 5. But yeah, Tri-Blast, super, super good. Now, because Valkyrie has a bow, she can actually be put in the back of the party. So if you really wanted to, you could have 3 melee characters and then just Valkyrie in the back. However, that does leave you open into some scenarios where the enemy is able to guard, and there's not a lot you can do about it. However, Llewellyn fixes that for us. Now, I'm going to let you observe that we have a lot of bonus XP. We're going to be holding on to that, and I will try not to use it unless I am short on CP. So I think we've described basically everything we want to see here. I could upgrade their armor, but I don't really need to be honest with you. It's probably okay. Now, Llewellyn's stats are kind of bad. I might not give him points. We'll see. I'm going to hold off on doing anything that affects their stats. The game does keep track if you, for example, take certain skills here, as some of these are purely for the requirements to send to Valhalla. Like, for example, Undead Knowledge and Monster Intelligence doesn't really do anything by itself, and in fact taking it doesn't even add to your skill points, so it's not worth it. However, there are some requirements where sometimes they say, like, we need a strong leader, so getting leadership points is mandatory, and things of that nature. Item appraisal ability. Most of this stuff is not too interesting. The ones we'll be focusing on for the most part are probably survival and fight for melee, and then we'll be doing the different intelligences. We'll be getting something later called magic and attack power, and those are the ones we want to focus above all the other ones, but we're still pretty early in the game. But I think for now, chat, I mean, I guess we could show the transfer screen since we're here. We could send technically, I think 2 people a chapter, maybe 3 in certain scenarios. We only ever want to send 1. So just keep that in mind, chat. We'll only send 1 at a time. It's not worth doing the double dip. As I said before, there's no benefit to going over 100 evaluation. Kind of pointless. Oh, there's one thing I didn't note, and I do want to do this, just so that we have it early on that we're going to draw attention to this. So you notice that every character has, like, a hero value? The Valkyrie, however, has something called a seal value. Now, the game never outright states what this does, but it's actually really important for us to control this number in order to get the best ending in the game. This seal value will make sense towards the end of the game, in particular if you get the bad ending. But from a normal playthrough, we will not be seeing what this does until like really, really far on. But I will state, we will be doing some weird actions, and if you see me doing weird actions that don't make a lot of sense, like removing the ring that's on Valkyrie, for example, it is to impact the seal value. I think in order to get to the best ending, before the, I would say midpoint of the, well, a little after the midpoint of the game, I need to tank the seal value. So it could go as low as 0. I think the lowest it can, or the highest it could be and still count, I think is 22. And generally speaking, anytime you do an action, it's going to decrease the seal value. And the more you act like a Valkyrie, the more seal value increases. So for example, I think finding people will decrease the seal value, which is why the seal value lowered. But if we send somebody to Valhalla, the seal value will go back up. It's one of those things we could try to keep an eye on. I'll probably talk in the next stream the different values of what can go up and go down. But just know that seeing very significant events will generally decrease the seal value significantly. Without realizing that this is important for an ending, you probably will not get the best ending casually, as you have to kind of do things on purpose to make the gods a little upset at you, which is not something you think you should do on a normal playthrough, except for maybe if you see the bad ending. Then you'll go, oh, maybe that's why I want to do this for that reason. So we'll be holding off on seeing the bad ending. Technically, I could get the bad ending in as little as 40 minutes. It doesn't take very long to do. I just have to basically not perform any tasks, and they will get very upset with you. But for now, we'll keep acknowledging that. So I just want to also draw attention to it. I feel like there's a big misconception on this. It is actually really easy to lower this. Yeah, we can speedrun the bad ending. We'll probably do that at some point. But I will state, lowering the seal value is really, really easy. I feel like the misconception is that people keep going like, oh, I can't get it low enough by a certain chapter. It's because you're transferring people to Valhalla. We're going to be doing a particular playthrough where we can get away with doing that, where we can still send them, get the items, get extra cutscenes and things like that. But if all you want is the best ending, it's really easy. Just don't send anybody to Valhalla and you'll be at like 0 seal by like chapter 3. Like not even like the middle of chapter 3. Like by chapter 3, your seal value will be 0. Because I think, for example, recruiting certain characters, like, for example, characters like Arngrim, I think actually really negatively impact the seal. Like, I think right now he doesn't do anything, but if we see characters like Arngrim that we can't send up, but we recruit them anyway, I think it's as high as a -15 value to the seal. And given that I think there's 2 characters like that, that's already a third of the seal value accounted for. And that's just with 2 character recruits. So again, getting rid of this much easier. I think it's just a misconception of how the seal value works. The most important thing to just chip away at it while still being able to transfer people is just to make sure the ring is not on you, as that impacts the seal rating. But anyway, chat, I think we had enough of our little discussion on the different endings for now. As I said before, we'll be doing the normal ending first, then we'll see the bad ending, and then we'll go straight into the good ending. So it will take a little while, but we'll see it all back to back so we get the full context of the good ending. But in any case, chat, let's chat a little bit. So hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay so far. We didn't get into many fights. We showed off a little more than we did in the first playthrough, as I definitely undervalued things like the Shadow Gem. In fact, we might be doing that to cheese a couple dungeons, honestly, so that I don't need to do any grinding at all. The only reason I want to do grinding in this game is specifically for the post-game dungeon. I honestly feel you could probably win at almost level 1 all the way to the end of the game if you have certain skills and you have items to give you skill points. You could do it at almost level 1. We'll be using that Aether Scepter very soon. Not in these upcoming dungeons, but probably somewhere in chapter 3 we'll be using it, possibly twice. So hopefully we'll end up with another elemental scepter. I recall where one of them is offhand without looking at a walkthrough, and it is in a very, very long dungeon. I thought that was the first place that you got the elemental scepter, but I was apparently wrong. Now, the mistake would be junking that item to get materialized points, as again, That is one of the most powerful scepters in the game because of the fact that it could do the great magic, and it is just absurdly broken. I believe the next variant of this that we'll see by Chapter 3 is the Unicorn Horn, which I believe is incredibly broken. And that is also an easily missed item, so we will be abusing that pretty much throughout the rest of the game. So we'll have like a sorcerer for the most part in our party. However, as I said before, beyond this beginning chapter, I think I'm going to reach out to chat, as we will have a lot of side characters that we don't need to send to Valhalla, and I could technically play with. So we'll be taking, I think, suggestions for party, not this chapter, maybe not chapter 2, but probably by chapter 3 onwards till the end of the game. Because we should have a whole slew of character choices. So already we have, like, we can technically sub Jolanda in or out before the end of the chapter, but it's going to be like that even more so by the end. So just let me know, chat, what your favorite characters are, and we'll probably have votes at some point formally. We'll just say whoever wants this character to go in or out, we'll do it. So I'll try to set that up, I think, for the next session that we do. That way chat gets to decide both who gets sent upwards and who we end up partying with. And I think for the partying with, I think we'll just take general responses versus the formal vote, but who we send up, I need to know immediately, because that'll define who is mandatory in certain dungeons. As I said before, we need to get levels in order to get CP, which affects personality traits, which affects their hero value, which affects the evaluation we receive for them. So it is important that we kind of keep it kind of high. So I'm just letting chat know that is the intent of the run and the intent of the stream. But for now, we're going to say adieu, as we've gotten as far as I was looking to get today. Now, fortunately, we did get one of those characters that makes Chapter 2 much easier, potentially. As I said before, Chapter 2 is a little tight, I would say, depending on what character you get, on how easy it is to max out the evaluation. But the character we got in Chapter 1 just now, Belinus, is super, super good at maxing it out. And he will potentially end up with the most cutscenes out of all the other characters. There's one thing I think I forgot to mention, is that the higher the hero value, the higher chance of success they have in any event that they are given. So they will potentially see the most success scenes out of all characters. So not even Llewellyn, if we send him in this chapter, will end up with a lot of like critical success scenes, where Belinus almost always ends up with the most hero value, no matter what. Because the more you have critical successes, the more hero value he gains too. So he's probably going to be our #1 unit, and he'll probably result in us getting very favorable things from Odin. But for now, chat, thank you all for joining. I hope you had a good time. We'll be saying adios to YouTube for a little bit. So for YouTube, this is definitely the conclusion of the stream. But stick around for a couple minutes and we'll be discussing some other things.